Welcome back to Han Took Shots First. This is the second half of our discussion on The Empire Strikes Back because, as you already know, we talked a lot. If you haven't listened to part one yet, go back and listen to part one. It's awesome, and it's available everywhere.
You don't want spoilers anyway.
Yeah, you don't want spoilers. So here it is, with no further ado, Empire Strikes Back, part 2, being talked about by us, kind of.
And if you're not entertained,
you will be. You will be.
Inside the asteroid, they get out, before they get out, everything starts rumbling a little bit, and C-3PO's like, I don't think this asteroid is entirely stable. And he's like, I'm so glad you're here to tell us these things. Thank you for being useful.
Thank you.
What are our odds now, you piece of shit?
Hey, what are the odds I take you apart? What do you think about, what are the odds I take your head off, pooping it, and put it back on?
It is hollow.
You got odds on that?
It doesn't look like it when he's wearing it, but later on, when he gets blown into pieces and Chewie's trying to put it together, that thing's hollow.
Yeah. Well, they did put a hand up there for a puppet later. I think that's how they did the shot of when Chewie's holding the torso and the head's moving around. I think someone's got their hand in between.
Oh, they didn't cut off
Ian McDaniels.
Anthony Daniels.
Anthony Daniels combined legs. Ian McDermott and Anthony Daniels.
They didn't really cut off Anthony Daniels' legs?
No, not that time.
And then there is him sexually harassing Leia some more. Like, she falls back and he's holding her, and he's like, sorry, I thought you just needed to be held. We don't have time for anything else right now.
Well, because she's like, yeah, it's going to take more than that. And he's like, well, I don't have time for more than that. Surprised he didn't do a stop short, dude, and fucking pumped the Millennium Falcon's brakes on her. Whoa, she's grabbing her boobs. You okay?
I mean, I was watching when she fell and he grabbed her. I was like, how does he grab her?
They were having an affair right here, actors and actress.
Were they?
Yeah, on one of these. It was either this or Jedi, but it would come up right before she passed away.
Okay,
I mean, how could you not?
Right,
for either of them.
For either, they could both do worse.
So a couple things that I'd read with Carrie Fisher. Everyone was getting sick on the set, all that, but she was especially.
Her nose was always running.
I said especially. Oh,
oof.
Especially.
I hate to hear it.
That's how you say it in Star Wars. It's
yeah.
Oh, good
like,
save.
Yeah.
Like bronchitis and all this stuff. She's allergic to the makeup. She's allergic to steam. She's allergic to and there's a lot of steam in this fucking movie, all right. But something else I had heard a little of your
probably not real steam. It's probably like they're using a fog machine and it's whatever the chemicals are.
Yeah, it might have been the PT or whatever they were using. It might have been. But so I had heard you say something about Debbie Reynolds in the Patreon.
Yeah, that's her mom.
Yeah, it's her mom, and there was some drama going on. There was more drama that I read about where she was telling people at the studio that there was a kidnapping plot against Carrie Fisher, and they're like, Debbie Reynolds is calling and saying that Carrie Fisher there's a kidnap. So she was just like sabotaging all kinds of shit. You also, it was the story you was telling her about, like, she doesn't want to fly coach.
Oh,
blah,
yeah.
blah.
And she's like, shut up, mom.
She's just sabotaging. She's
coach.
like, she had a big movie now. Like, I'm just going to interject my old ass.
Oh, so maybe Debbie Reynolds was just like poisoning her own daughter.
She was a little.
She's like, look, you're sick.
I think she might have been a little nutso.
Little misery.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's the part where C-3PO is talking about L337 inside the computer here. I mean, obviously he doesn't say that, but that's what's implied.
Elite?
And exactly. And I like Han is talking to her. She's trying to fix something, and she's like, "You make it so difficult." And he's like, "Yeah, you really do, don't I?"
Yeah.
He's such a piece of shit, and it's so charming.
But it's charming. That's the thing. That's the thing. And this is not that I'm not going to go on a rant about how guys have it tough in this day and age. But this is a tough part of dating. Is it's really creepy if you don't like him.
Yeah.
It's hard to know when to persist and when not to. And Han's just like, luckily, I am a charming-looking scoundrel.
Well, it turns out she does like him because she's like, no, they're getting closer and closer. And it's like, I like nice men. I'm a nice man.
I'm nice.
And they start kissing, and
I
then we
can
have
be nice.
and then we have C-3PO, moment killer.
Dun, dun. He comes in with his fucking hose and just sprays cold water all over him. What were you doing in there? Oh no, son, it's getting too steamy.
And I love
You
that-
got a bulge down there.
You're turning to stone in your pants. Oh no!
I love that because he's a droid, even though he's a protocol droid, he's clueless because he comes in, he's like, holy shit, dude, I did it. I fixed it.
I think other people fuck in front of protocol droids. Like they come in, they're so not now.
This is correct protocol.
Like, oh, I'll stand here until you're finished. Protocol me, daddy.
And then we have back on the ship, Vader makes a call to the Emperor the first time we see him.
Yeah, dude, this is a weird like face mask on his eyes.
So it's an actress named Marjorie Eaton who is not credited, but then they superimposed chimpanzee eyes, and someone named Clive Reville did the voice. But I'm pretty sure this was the Ian McDiarmid voice.
It sounded like it on this,
But
version.
it was the original.
And
graphic.
I said, I think I might have said baboon. I said something about a primate face.
Yeah,
on
I
the
remember
other
you
one.
saying that. That's why I wrote this down, because I was like, okay, so it was part that.
Yeah.
Because in the obviously the redone version, they like expanded it and re-recorded it, and it was Ian McDiarmid and James Earl Jones doing a little bit more. So I couldn't tell 100% for sure, but it sounded more like, and because I haven't heard the original version in a
Right,
long
and you
time,
can't really.
so I'm not sure if this is. I mean, I got to get a VCR and I can pop that tape in.
Yeah.
but and hope it doesn't rip in half because it hasn't been played in 20
That's my
years.
word. That's why I have the same exact one. I will not put them in because they get they might get obliterated.
Ooh, oh no, threw them away. Never mind.
It's the digitally remastered, but not special edition.
Right.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see those
The
every
last
now and then.
VHS that came out right before, and he even says in the interviews with Leonard Maltin, he's like, "This is the last time you'll ever see these movies in their original form." I found when I was cleaning and reorganizing, I found these discs that I had someone make. They ripped those tapes onto DVDs for me many years ago. So I was like, now I can watch it. I popped that shit in. I was like,
It's rough.
140 lines of resolution on
Yeah.
DVD. On my even back then, my TV was like 35 inches, and I was like,
And it still
Yeah.
looked rough, so a big
Yeah.
screen now is
yeah.
real bad.
So
This
I
fucking
found
monster.
those DVDs, and I was like, I got these 4Ks and Blu-rays. I don't need this shit. Should have kept it just to check this, but I didn't think about
Yep.
it.
Oh well.
Yeah, live and learn and get loves. But I like
Wait.
because
Do they make adult diapers now?
yeah.
Live, love, learn, shit yourself.
But like, so at this point, they know that Darth Vader. I mean, we don't, but the people writing this know that Darth Vader is Luke's dad. So when the Emperor's
Maybe.
talking to him, and he's like, "The son of Skywalker must not learn to become a Jedi," I guess it's just because like we did in Obi-Wan and stuff, they're not referring to him like Obi-Wan stops referring to him as Anakin.
Right.
He calls him Darth at the end, which helps explain why he's calling him Darth, even though it's a title. And like stuff like that. So I guess it's just the Emperor being like, "You are not Anakin Skywalker. The son of that guy can't become a Jedi. You are Darth Vader."
But it's not 100% that they know that yet. That the writers, I think the writers could easily just be like,
I mean,
look,
you,
dude,
you do a final pass.
the
but,
son of the guy that you killed is going to become a powerful Jedi and fuck you up. We can't allow that.
yeah.
I
Maybe.
still don't think they know. I still think that up until George put the line in for that, because like I said, he had James Earl Jones do multiple takes. That way he says so nobody knew. I think because he didn't fucking know.
You have test audiences. You're doing screenings.
Or I think
you're
it's just-
doing the dailies and seeing how people respond.
I think it's just him. Like, what do I want to do next?
Man,
Well, it could also still be trying to trick David Prowse because
True.
so the story I have here is that George Lucas really wanted it to be kept secret. So even David Prowse, when he was doing the lines on set, he said Obi-Wan killed your father.
Right.
And then there was 5 people.
David Prowse guessed it, by the way, is like what the legend says is that he was, when people were like, what's, he's like, Darth Vader's his father. His fodder.
Darth
his
Vader's
father.
his
Hello,
father.
mother.
He's his fodder.
Hello, father.
But I mean,
I
in
killed his
this
fodder.
little story I found, it says that he found out when he saw the movie.
Uh-huh.
But it's all hearsay. So.
Well, and then, like I said, the legend is that like
Yeah.
on circuits, he was telling people, he's like, it's so obvious, like I'm going to be the dad. But that could also just be him being cheeky.
So the 5
He didn't have a good
people-
relationship with George in Star Wars, by the way.
Well, no, because he thought he was going to be in the movie,
Yeah,
not just
in the movie.
just mocapping.
Right.
He thought he was going to be more than Doug Jones or Andy Serkis.
Especially after episode 6, he's like, that was supposed to be my face.
Yeah.
Which, I'll be honest, man, that face in 6 isn't good enough to make me think you couldn't have used David Prowse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is the back of David Prowse's head. It looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But so the 5 people that knew, George Lucas obviously they say that he came up with the idea on the second draft after Lee Brackett died, and he went through and did like a second pass on it. The director, Irving Kershner, was informed during like story meetings. Obviously Lauren Kasdan knew also during story meetings because he had to write the script. Mark Hamill was apparently told right before they shot the scene so he could react correctly. And then, although based on the way Luke has acted this whole time, this would also be his reaction if he found out it was Obi-Wan.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's what I was just thinking in my head. Like, no, they didn't.
But I guess they do have the
him.
thing where he's like father, so they have to, because he's doing the mind talking.
Yeah. Okay. He has to do the mind talking. He needs to say fodder.
And nobody else is in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then James Earl Jones, because he did it during the recording sessions, but people have said that he thought it was a lie.
Right.
He thought Darth Vader was lying to him, much like Adam Driver in episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You're nobody."
Yeah, she is
You're
a nobody.
Secret Palpatine.
She was a nobody because she was a clone.
Yeah.
I was reading
Spawn.
that Lucas was almost not on set at all. It was probably those production meetings and
well, yeah,
story
that
board
was the thing
meetings
is
and
he
all.
What
he
would they
didn't
do?
he
Like-
was
But he was
What
not.
would they need him for? He wasn't good at that.
yeah. Well, he said that he got really sick after doing the first
Yeah.
one because he was so exhausted and da-da. He's like, making that movie was really hard work. I'm going to pay someone else so they
Yeah.
can get sick.
Yeah.
I have $775 million now.
Yeah, he was hospitalized.
I
with,
could hire a
like,
director.
exhaustion And...
Yeah, I mean, we
Uh-huh.
talked about him getting sick and using like a sign that just said faster, better.
Oh, yeah, I
So-
heard that. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'd never heard that until I heard on.
I actually
on the
need a
last
second
episode of your
sign so I
guys'.
could just be like, do both at the same time. Better and faster. Just keep flipping it at him.
And so then we have these TIE bombers. I guess it's just what they are, right? Going
Absolutely.
through.
Good job.
I think they're not just bombing this one. They're just going through. They're just trying to. They're here
Anywhere-
somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
anywhere-
nobody thinks they're here except for Darth Vader,
He knows it.
but he can feel.
Don't
something.
put your faith in this fucking technology, man.
And then that's when we get the sucky bat.
Minot.
Yeah, that lands on the side of the
Minot,
ship.
North Dakota.
It does sound like a town in North Dakota.
That's Minot.
Is it?
Minot is North Dakota.
That's funny.
Then Minot
All right, but so
is
they go out.
is how you know I'm at your door. Bum, bada, bum, bum. Not the cops.
If I was a cop, that's how I'd knock.
Absolutely.
Not that famous cop knock.
Ryan's wife was saying that somebody got her the other day. Not this is a while ago now, but somebody did the bup, bada, bup, bup, and it was like solar. Like, oh no, that's for friends only. You do
No.
not do that.
If
knock.
I opened the door and it was a guy with a tablet, I would just slam that shit so hard.
Also, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you were there when cops came to Brandon's apartment one night for a lot of bottle breaking and craziness. I think the cops did that knock too, and we were like, You can't do this, gentlemen. Like,
Yeah.
this is.
Excuse me, the Geneva Convention states.
There was a huge party going on in this
Sorry,
tiny
it's the
apartment.
Gin and Neva Convention.
And we just we're like, someone's probably swinging on the door to open it. Like, yeah! It's just
This
cops.
was a party
Someone
apartment.
throws a bottle and it breaks right at the little foyer, the
Uh-huh.
tile. And
There were
it's the cops.
couches
It's like,
being cut in half. Like
Yeah.
this was a punk rock
spray paint on the wall.
apartment.
But yeah, it's fucking cops.
There wasn't a fireplace. There was fires inside.
My knock.
Was there squishy ground?
There was no. Well, yeah. After a while, also cutty ground because of the glass.
Pat Hanna rolled around in it. You know.
Because in this movie, there's squishy ground.
Yes.
They go outside and she's like, "This doesn't feel like rock," and they're like bouncing up and down. And it's going, and I'm like, "No shit, it doesn't feel like rock."
Everyone, I told you that it's not a normal asteroid.
No one ever listens to me.
But like Chewie shoots a laser and the whole thing rumbles a little bit, and Han's like, "Huh, I wonder if I shoot the floor," and that pisses off the Gloomgord.
The Gloomgore. Yes.
Exogorth.
Oh, it's so close.
Gloomgore.
I got the second half almost right.
Almost.
I got 3 letters.
I'm not giving you any points on that one. Not a. You don't have a Minox
You get
chance.
you
in
get
hell.
no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
We are all stupider. Yeah, shoots that. And he's like, all right, kids in the car, roll them up.
And even as a child, I thought this was kind of stupid because they're flying out, and this mouth, this clearly giant mouth, is closing.
I think it's supposed to look it's very mouthful.
There's
but it's
teeth.
supposed to look like stalactites and stalagmites.
Sure. And this is how caves collapse: is they just go.
Yeah.
They don't crumble and rocks fall.
Quick question: how many times you flown a Millennium Falcon out of a cave?
Only once.
I rest my what? Huh?
I stand mistaken. Wait.
I sit corrected.
I had a crazy 20s, dude.
20s were wild, y'all.
But yeah, we mirror the first movie because she's like, the cave is collapsing. He's like, that's no cave. And they fly out and escape from this thing. And they end up jumping away. Of course, it fails at first. Again.
No, they don't jump away. They
Oh no, that's right. This is not where they jump away. That's
they pull the
after.
Obi-Wan. They kind of pull the Obi-Wan a little bit.
Yeah, they do what they end up doing in Spaceballs later.
Yeah. It's a great
They
little
go kind of
smuggler's
high.
move.
They kind of go.
He this is when he
He's-
goes like he's
comes
gonna
back
attack him
around.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then he ends up being on the back of the bridge. Like he just attaches himself to
I
it.
do love though. They're like he's moving into attack position. The guy's like, "That's stupid. Put up the shields."
That's ridiculous. We're perfectly safe. Shields up. I wouldn't be worried. Those shields up yet?
Look, I saw what that little tiny plane did to the Death Star. So let's just shields up.
I mean, let's talk about the fact that these Star Destroyers have some of the worst designs. It's a giant exposed bridge and shield generators. So, I mean, like, we've seen it in one of these space battles. I think it's the next one where a little fighter goes in and takes out a bridge on its own by crashing into it.
Yeah.
And there goes your Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Terrible design. It's because they wanted to have mass produced shit instead of having good engineers like the Mon
Well, and also
Calamari.
they're not scared.
Right.
In general. I mean, a lot of these guys working there might be, but the Empire as
Right.
a unit we're not afraid.
Mhm.
Fuck you. Nothing can hurt us.
We got a design, dude. See this thing? Looks like a fucking triangle. It's dope.
It's like a triangle wearing a hat. I love it.
It's fucking awesome. I love triangles wearing
Well,
hats.
I think we've talked about it, but it's like Andor. He's like their arrogance won't.
Yeah.
let 'em.
Yeah.
They're like they're too proud.
That's exactly what I mean. I couldn't think of what I was like. We've talked about it,
Yeah,
and that's what it
yeah.
was. It's Andor saying it, but yeah, he
It's
does
good
do
'cause that
this.
sets up like the whole. You know what I mean? Though?
Yeah.
Like
It helps
sets up
build
the whole
it.
world.
It helps shape the universe or see wide shape that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it gives you a little more insight into
And
not
that's when
only
you
the
can tell,
Imperials,
like
but-
watching all the newer stuff, you can tell who was making it and actually watched and enjoyed Star Wars, and who was making it and was just getting paid.
Yeah. Like the last 3 of the trilogy versus all the shows. In my opinion, I love the
Like
shows, so.
2 out of 3 of those trilogies. That guy didn't give a shit.
Ryan watched the number 8 with me and didn't like it.
Well, J.J. Abrams didn't.
But I
give a
haven't
shit.
watched 9 yet, right?
You haven't watched 9.
Yeah, I'm
I
waiting
do have
for
a
this
fun
podcast
story.
to do 9.
Oof. You could be on for that one. It's gonna be unfun.
I have a fun story involving J.J. Abrams. I don't know where I hit it in here. Here we go. I was going to talk about it, but since we're talking about those movies right now, I'll bring it up. I mean, it roughly involves J.J. Abrams, but it's Simon Pegg, who did play the big quarter portion guy.
Ungar Plot or something like that.
But he was friends with J.J. Abrams. He had been in the Star Trek movies and stuff.
Scotty.
And apparently he showed this movie to his daughter when she was like 3. And they get to the part with Yoda. And she was like, holy shit, that dude's real? Like, because she's only seen CG stuff.
Right.
So she was like
Nice.
so impressed with like this real puppet. Like she thought it was a real little creature dude. And so he later on told the story to J.J. Abrams. And J.J. Abrams told it to the Lucasfilm and Disney execs. And that's why, I mean, there's a ton of CG in those movies, but they did also lean into doing practical stuff. Because they're like,
The
little
character
kids
you're
are going to
talking about,
appreciate this.
the character you're talking about, Ungar Plot, I want to say his name is, but either way, Simon Pegg's character has a lot of puppetry to him.
Yeah.
Like very much like what we saw in Skeleton Crew. Like yes, there's CG layers over it that clean it up a little bit, but there's a person wearing an outfit there.
And I'm assuming they'll do like the puppet and then they'll fix the face with CG so the
Yeah.
mouths move more
Yeah.
realistically, stuff like that. But that's part of the reason. And so Simon Pegg apparently when he got to the set, he was talking to one of the guys that was there. He was visiting Pinewood Studios. And one of the puppeteer guys there saw him and was like, hey, you're the guy who saved Star Wars.
That's awesome. What a good thing to hear about yourself.
But yeah, so Han does do this like buzz the tower move. Negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
The Emperor spills his coffee. No good.
We cut to Vader just choking a dude out. It's that guy who's like, "Don't worry, I'll go explain the mistake to Vader."
He
It'll be fine."
he wasn't that flippant, but
He won't be that
was
mad at
like,
me.
He did
"All right,
sound scared, but
just put a kettle on because I'm gonna need it after the lashing I'm gonna get. I am gonna go take credit for this or take blame for this. He's gonna chew me out. I might be suspended for a little bit, but I'll be back in a little
like
bit.
he might force break my finger or something.
Yeah,
but this isn't
yeah.
big enough to be choked out over.
He's gonna give me a force
Is it?
wedgie.
But we just come back and the guy's just like, plop. And Vader's like, "Hello there. I stole that line from my friend."
Well, actually, it's kind of complicated. We aren't friends
Old
anymore.
Ben, I call them.
Some people call him Old Ben, not me. Not the name I've
Fucking
ever known
Luke
him
is still running
as.
around this movie calling him Ben. That's why he's
Yeah.
not answering. He's like, "Ben, help me."
Dude, he
Obi-Wan's-
finally says Obi-Wan. He's like, I was only going to answer to that name.
My name's not fucking Ben.
Qui-Gon's sitting there like, aren't you going to answer him? Not till he uses my right name.
But like, yeah, he flies behind and he's on the bridge too. It's not like he's on the side of the ship or something. He's just he's like feet away from these dudes who are looking for him.
Uh-huh.
And it works because of all the stuff on top of the ship, all the little bubbles and
Doodads.
pipes and doodads. So it's just like a thing. If another Star Destroyer got close enough to say crash into them, they might see him.
Right.
But from a distance, they're not. I like 3PO is just bitching about it, and Leia just reaches over and is like, "That's enough of that." And then they float away because apparently the Empire's thing is like, well, we got to shed some weight. So every time we're going to jump into hyperspeed, just dump all the garbage in space.
There's just garbage floating around space. That tracks.
Hopefully it's not in a hyperspace lane. Oh, you're jumping right into hyperspace from this? So somebody jumps in later and they're just like,
Yeah. I mean, in fairness,
"Oh,
they
man, I ran
are
into a Vader."
they are right by an asteroid field.
Yeah, that's fair.
So maybe don't jump there anyway.
And that's when Han's like, "Oh shit, they're looking for somewhere to go." Oh, also, by the way, we see that Boba Fett, he had his scent.
Yeah.
He shot out in the garbage too.
We talked about this in episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This is the exact move that Obi-Wan did to Jango Fett and Boba Fett. And now Boba Fett's doing it to
He's like, "I've seen this before."
yeah, he's like, I learned a little something, dude.
But like, he's like looking for somewhere to land. He's like, "There's got to be somewhere around here." Oh shit, Lando. Lando's a good friend of mine. Well,
Then it's a good friend. He's a friend.
I know
I
Lando.
know him.
I know Lando for sure. So let's go there.
I've met him.
Can you trust him?
All I can
No.
say
Oh,
is,
God, no.
he doesn't like the Empire. There's
Yeah.
no way he would have Vader over for dinner.
He wouldn't want to.
No. No.
He's a smuggler and a pirate himself, man. He just won this city in a card game. Probably not fair and square.
So we'll go back and talk about Luke.
All right.
Luke goes and crashes on Dagobah because he's not a good pilot. I know it's like whatever, but like he's like, "Don't worry, I'll figure out how to land."
I think there's we know there's a force nexus there. I think he's like, this is why Yoda chose it. You can't get in there and get out easily.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. And
Because
like,
if you didn't have Yoda there to help you pull your fucking ship out, you're done.
yeah. And we get one of my favorite things as a kid is R2 falling in the swamp, and then just his little like camera poking up, and
Yeah.
he's
Little
like,
periscope. Like, oh man, this guy can do anything.
and he gets eaten and spit out. We talked about that. It's always fun.
Always.
And then Yoda finds him,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "I feel like we're being watched."
Watched?
Ooh, somebody's watching.
Mm.
I like watching. Or watching, I like do
I haven't
too.
been able to watch anyone in years.
I just get a mirror and pretend I'm watching.
And this is Frank Oz.
Yes,
Yeah.
Frank Oz. It was
Frank
originally
Oz.
offered to Jim Henson because, as we know from the other podcast, Bad Movies, Worst People, when we did The Labyrinth,
Yeah.
Jim Henson and George Lucas were good friends. But Jim Henson was working on something at this time frame. I guess the Great Muppet Caper, probably. So then,
Sure, that's the one to do.
so then he recommended Frank Oz, which worked out.
It worked out very well.
And apparently George Lucas really strongly campaigned for Frank Oz to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh wow.
But
That's cool.
the Academy was like, puppeteers aren't actors.
Yeah.
And like
It's-
George Lucas was getting heated, and Frank Oz is just kind of like, I don't really care.
It's not really long enough of a portrayal to get that, but I do think he's great. He's great.
There are people.
Yeah.
Judd Hirsch, that's that right?
Mhm.
That's the guy. He was in like Independence Day and shit. He was in. He got Best Supporting Actor or nominated. I don't know if he won for The Fabelmans a couple years ago, which is Steven Spielberg's like kind of biopic.
Never saw it.
It's pretty good, but
Okay.
he's barely in that movie. He was in like 2 scenes. I think Dame Judi Dench won for like Shakespeare in Love, and she was in like 1 scene.
Okay, so
you
you
have
can
you could
can
just,
be okay.
You don't have
yeah.
to be in hardly
and,
anything.
and he's damn good.
You're
in it, so-
supporting. But this was just the Academy being like, puppeteers
a
aren't
puppet.
actors. And it wasn't the puppet that was being nominated; it was the guy acting.
I
But
know.
it's 3, I guess, because there's multiple people maybe who have to run it, whatever.
Yeah.
I, you know what? Okay, in my world too, I want to think that Jim Henson was talking to George Lucas, and he's like, "Man, you sound like a frog. I got an idea." Like,
Moving right
oh,
along. No, I actually came up with Darth Vader.
Oh, whoa! Where did this?
I've got this new puppy. He's called Luke. Kermit.
Luke Kermit. Lucurmia?
Lucurmia, the frog. That sounds an awful lot like leukemia. You're right. I'll change it to Kermit.
I'll just drop it to Kermit. Just Kermit's fine. That's what I was going to
Moving right along. Can we talk about my movie Star Wars?
Moving right along.
Ooh, I like
Moving right
that.
along. That's good. Good.
But
I got to go to the Rainbow Connection later to get my food. And
It's too bad that was it Marsha that was his wife, but it's too bad she wasn't like a plump woman, because
Miss
that would just go
Piggy.
even further
Yeah,
with Jim Henson being like, and then Kermit's in love with Miss Piggy. But we talked about it during the prequels when we did those, but like just this Yoda, this is the comedic relief, by the way. Like 3PO and R2 do their thing, they have their goofy like fools moments, but this dude is just running around like just being a senile crazy old man.
Dude,
he's like, "Ooh, what's this? Flashlight? Ooh,
His-
your granola
yeah.
bar tastes like shit." Huh?
His duel with R2D2 is phenomenal.
Okay,
But then but 20 years earlier, he was just like, "Yes, calm am I."
20 years.
20 years in,
on a dark side planet.
20 years in Yoda time though.
And
That's like 4
4
minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
he's just such
Fucking
a wise
Grogu is
fool,
like
too.
Grogu is like a fucking 3-year-old, and he's 50.
It's true. He said he's been training Padawans for 800 years, which means he was 100 years old when he was like elevated up to being at least a sentence forming whatever species. Yeah, what do we call them? Yodels.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
At
those
least
are
a
yodels.
at least a basic speaking yodel.
yeah.
You know, so because I was thinking about that when he said that, I was like, all right, so Grogu's
'cause he's-
50.
They don't say in this, but I've heard before, and I know he's over. I thought I had heard that he was like 900 and something, like 960
6.
something. In here though, oh, do they say?
In episode 6, when he's dying, he's like, when 900 years old you
Oh,
are,
so he just says
look as
900,
good you
okay.
will not.
Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with
Man,
somebody
that's a
else.
burn, dude.
When you're 900, oh wait, you won't live to be 900? Sorry, bitch.
look this young, you will not.
Enjoy your one fucking century
Okay,
of life.
this is the first time I've fucking seen this movie since the bad lip reading Star Wars. So the whole start where he's, you know that, the whole
Yeah,
song
oh,
and all
yeah.
that.
Rockin',
So as soon as I start
rockin'
seeing him
rollin',
hit
Seagull
R2,
or
and I
something.
see him like getting over in the hut, and I'm like,
down
that's
to
the dance
beach I'm
scene.
strolling.
And like it's been
His
ruined
daughter
in a good
had
way.
us watch that a
Yes.
lot. I showed her that.
Yes.
Like I showed the whole family that.
And now I've seen it 200 times. So this was the first time seeing Empire Strikes Back since that. And I was thinking that quite a lot.
I suggest watching that.
But yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're looking for Yoda. I know that guy.
I know.
You-
I know him. Of course I know him.
You're
He
looking
is
for
me.
you're looking for Yoda. I can't. I'm doing Jordan. I'm doing Donald Trump. What's a
I thought
Biden?
you were doing
I'm
Michael
trying to
Jackson.
Trying to think. Of,
Oh,
looking
man.
for Yoda? Oh yeah, I was doing more.
You gotta
like,
get- you gotta get real sleepy,
I gotta
man.
do this thing.
Why don't
Oh,
you shut up?
you're looking for Yoda? I know Yoda. Wait, am I Yoda? Oh, shit, I'm Yoda.
I know a Yoda. He looks like, well, kind of looks like me.
When 800 years old you are.
Smell this good, you will not. Something like that. I'm on Dagobah.
when 16 years old 16 years old you are, smell this good, you will.
Oh God.
So they go and they have a nice little dinner.
Dude, I want some of this roots too.
I love though that like Luke tastes it and he's like, oh, just sprinkle some dirt in there. I guess that'll be.
Yeah.
I don't know what he
It's spice.
sprinkles on it.
It's spice, and I don't mean like seasoning spice. It's
Yeah.
the drug spice, but it just tastes like whatever you want it to. It's like that Willy Wonka shit. Like, God, I wish this was prime rib. Prime rib, it is.
He's like, this shredded root will help this root stew.
Oh, leaning into the root flavor. I see a bowl of manure. Yoda's like,
More earthy is what I was thinking.
he's like, how much did you just put in your soup? That's acid. Did you put more than
That's a
a
bold
sprinkle
maneuver.
in
Let's see if
there?
it pays off, Cotton.
Han dropped this off on his last.
That's how he
run.
was. That's how he was able to train so fucking long because he went through a spice dream. You know how long he's here? It's been mostly
week?
guesstimated. No, 8 to 10.
Weeks.
They say it takes about 8 to 10 weeks for him to train, and also that's the 8 to 10 weeks is the journey that. And this sounds like hell to me. Leia and all them take to get to Bespin.
That's how long
Oh.
it takes, really.
That's what. That's
So
what a
he's
lot
like,
of the books.
well, it's a little out of the way, but it'll be worth it. When
But you
Han-
can't go anywhere else. Is
Yeah.
I guess the thing. But just imagine like 8 to 10 weeks on a fucking bus with people.
I know. I'm about to go on a cruise for 7 days, and I'm like,
yeah.
That's about the max, dude. No, thank you.
This is when
Like,
Yoda reveals.
moving roommates.
I guess I'm gonna reword that. I was gonna say this is when Yoda reveals himself, but not with this.
Oh!
Not with this company. This is when Yoda tells him, though, he's like, "Oh yes, your father, powerful Jedi, was he?" And he's like,
You don't
How
know
would
my-
you know my
You
dad?
don't even know me.
You little old weird turd man."
That I'm supposed to train with. It's a Jedi.
I smelled you when you were
he's not.
sleeping,
He
man.
doesn't know it's Yoda.
When you were laying down there and I took a big sniff of your hair.
And then the Obi Ghost, Obi
Ghost Kenobi.
Obi Ghost Kenobi
Full
is talking.
Kenobs.
Is talking to. He's talking to Yoda, and I guess Luke can also hear him.
Yeah.
So he's just talking to the whole room now.
It would just have to be because it's like, well, he conferenced them in.
Yeah, he's like,
Hold on, I've got Yoda here. Can we get Luke on the call too?
I'm doing a
Luke,
Zoom. I'm
can
doing
you
a
hear-
Zoom call,
Yeah?
but my camera's not
All right.
working.
Ben, turn on your camera.
Just
Ben.
cut, yeah,
Ben, turn on your camera.
It's
I
like
can't
when
see you.
Derrick tries
I
to
can
talk
hear
to
you.
me about this.
Cut to him like
just sitting there
Is it
fucking
working?
staring at me
Is
in
it
the
working
camera.
now?
Am I sharing my screen?
Move the
Am I-
camera back, Ben. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. He's like, I want you to hear me, I guess.
Yeah, but Yoda's like he's not ready. And we get classic baby
Or
Luke.
sorry, Luke's accidentally that good. And he's like, were you eavesdropping on our conversation right now? Me and Yoda were having a private force chat, and you were just eavesdropping. You had your fucking finger on the mute button, so we wouldn't hear you breathing.
It's genetic.
He has his father's cough.
Have we got a podcast for you?
Bad movies, worst people.
I mean, look, you like getting a couple beers in you, watching a bad movie, and yucking it up with your friends. That's what we're doing. We have microphones.
We have great impersonations. We have bad impersonations.
I think it might be one of the best podcasts I've ever heard.
It's the best podcast I've ever heard, fellas, and I ain't lying through my giant teeth. There's a sample.
Yes.
You can find us anywhere. Badmoviesworstpeople.com. Come check us out.
If you don't follow us, we will follow you home.
Hey guys, I don't want to sound needy here.
I'm
or anything,
needy.
but we have a Patreon at patreon.com/worstpeople.
Mm-hmm.
And it only costs $3 a month.
$3 a month is nothing.
And I know times are hard right now.
Real hard for me.
Inflation's up.
Oh.
You can't afford your groceries.
Can't eat.
But you can afford $3 a month if you love us.
Give us $3.
Super love us.
Please
Yeah.
love us.
We're not begging.
I'm begging.
We're not pleading.
I'm pleading.
We're not down on our knees.
Oh boy,
I mean-
my knees hurt. They've been on so long.
But we do kind of need the money.
I need the money bad.
We need new equipment.
New equipment. We need to do remote podcasts for all of you.
I wouldn't mind eating.
We need to have video.
I wouldn't mind eating.
We need more drinks.
Food sounds good.
So please check out patreon.com/worstpeople.
Please check us out.
You get a bonus episode every month, and we're going to have more content coming for you.
I'll send you pictures.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Please give me more.
Patreon.com/worstpeople.
I'm being held hostage here. If I don't pay my way out of here, they're going to kill me.
But we get classic baby Luke because when Yoda's like, he's not ready. He's like, I am ready.
I so am.
This is how Jedis
ready.
talk.
Ben, tell him I'm ready.
Tell him I'm ready. I'm not a baby boy.
Look, I saw those other 3 movies that come out in 30 years. This is how Jedis talk. They don't turn into Sith.
He's headed towards Sith with this attitude, man.
Yeah. I mean, he
Does
is wearing
Yoda's-
all black in that next movie.
Yeah.
He's working on it.
But his dad did too, even before he was a Sith.
Yeah. Well,
Just
Foreshadowing.
A fashion. Yeah. Foreshadowing.
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 But we get what probably the most famous line from this movie, which is saying something. And he's like, adventure, excitement, a Jedi craves not these things.
Which, like, come on. You should be allowed to.
They do. Like,
Yeah,
because
they're not
I've-
allowed to, though.
I've mentioned before, reading some of those High Republic books, and most of the Jedi in there are like Padawans who are still learning to be better.
Yeah.
But, and it's a lot of inner dialogue, but they're like, I shouldn't be having this much fun, but I kind of am.
That was the
so-
big thing with the acolyte, that little shit kid that went and stirred up shit at the witch's compound. He just was tired of picking flowers.
Yeah.
That was like the whole thing. He's like, I want adventure, dude. And he's doing it in the wrong way. But I think it should be fine to be like, I hope we get to go help the galaxy out. Like, I want to make it a better place, right? Why wouldn't I want to go have a good adventure?
Was he the one that
Oh,
got
man.
silenced forever or no? Different one.
He was the one that poisoned himself.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that
Okay,
he
they did
ended up
Torben?
meditating and shit.
Torben.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't go to like Jedi school and do like years and years of training and all this hard work to be like, God, I really hope I'm stationed on like a remote planet in a monastery where I never see anyone and I get to harvest fruit. That'd be really
shit.
cool.
I wish your wife was still here. She had asked a question on the last one about like what happens if you don't pass like the Jedi trials and all that. What happens to you? They offer you jobs in the Jedi temples.
Oh,
You could be a
okay.
janitor. You could be a botanist. You could be a cook, or not a botanist, fucking gardener. Like
Okay.
just simple things like that. You might be a janitor. Because they mostly want to keep an eye on you.
Look, you were good with the lightsaber, just not good enough. So we're gonna give you a mop. You just got the janitor in the background of the scene, just like
It's force wiping the windows
holy
down.
shit, there's
dude.
stuff on the ceiling.
Hey, did you mop the ceiling today? Good.
And then we have the most scary part of this. I mean, we do get the reference to Luke being too old, which we learn a lot about in the prequels, right? He's like, he's too old, he's too reckless. But we get like the scariest thing that's in any Star Wars movie. It's when Luke's like, well, I'm not afraid.
You will be.
Dude,
You will be.
that delivery. And then they cut to
Don't
Luke. and
fall
he's-
asleep.
I just want
Don't fall asleep.
That's all I thought when I saw that part.
I just see this though, and I think of Mark Hamill like being in front of this puppet and hearing the voice, and just that's his real look. Like,
Oh my
well, I'm
god.
never gonna own a doll.
Can we cut? I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that.
That's not how he did it in rehearsal.
Again, I had asked before. I had asked in the last one, like, what a terrible plan the Jedi had to like, let's hide him until he's 19, because now you finally bring him to Yoda, and Yoda's like, he's too old. Why wasn't he on Dagobah with you the whole fucking time, dude?
Yeah.
It's just the whole Star Wars of everyone who's the last hope is too old. Like,
Right.
they're too old. They're 7. They're too
I mean,
old.
they
They're
do have
9,
to-
they're
they
too
have to
old.
make
They're
sure they break the
19, they're
mold.
too old. Yeah.
And I get that, and I like it because we'll talk about it much more in the next episode in 6, how Luke's going against what everyone's saying about how you can't have emotions. His emotions what saves the fucking galaxy.
Well, you know
His
what?
attachment is what saves the fucking galaxy. So he's the Jedi are antiquated, yada yada. I just wonder, like, what was the fucking plan?
I
Hide
don't-
him on Tatooine until he dies of natural causes?
I don't think the
it's
original.
the last
it's-
case.
well,
it's
it's
the
a-
last.
It's not a
It's the
plan.
last hope.
It's
You're
not a
only-
plan so
yeah.
much as like they're just trying to hurry and make sure that Anakin doesn't know he exists. But also like,
Sure.
but also I don't think the plan was let's hide him there till he's 19. I think it was like let's send him off for safekeeping, and then when things die down, we'll go get him. They're not thinking it's going to take 20 years. They're not knowing that the entire Jedi Order is going to be wiped out
and the rebels
and the
are
entire
gonna be-
Republic is going to be taken over. Like they don't know. They don't know all
I
because
think
all
they
this stuff's
should assume
happening at
that.
once. They're just like, we're going to send him away for a couple years. We'll go get him and we'll train him when he's like 3 or 4. That's fine.
should have had Yoda go with. He should have gone with Yoda.
I mean, so
Just
all
be the
these,
most fucking
you know,
powerful
so all
force
these
user
people,
ever,
Bail
but socially
Organa
inept.
and Luthen and all these people. Those are the last
Mon Mothma.
people. Mon Mothma. Yeah, those are the last people that are like might know about someone like Luke and Leia, obviously.
So
But, like,
it's exactly Yoda, Obi-Wan, Wedge Antilles, and they wiped the droid's memories except for R2.
Okay.
R2 has all of it.
Because
Yeah.
he can't speak English.
So, and those are the ones that saw the birth, rather, because we talked about that as well. And so we'll move on from that. But they hid the birth. Even when she was dead, she had that baby bump, which when we watched, your wife commented on. It's a hologram, dude. Duh. That's in canon.
It's just there was a fan in the room.
All right, we have to make her still look pregnant. Are you done blowing up those balloons?
They both came out at the same time, so there was still an opening, and just that's how science works, right?
Just
So-
some
that's how
robot with
sci-
a bellow.
That's how science fiction works. Yeah,
That's how
the
science fiction
the
works.
nanny bots down there just
George Lucas always said the shot is more important than science. So if a fan up vagina makes you happy,
But so now Luke finally gets to not be a Mary Sue like he was in the first movie, which no one ever mentions. We did, but
I know, but we were okay with it. We're not okay when a girl's a Mary Sue.
No,
which
no.
I mean, we shouldn't be okay with Mary Sues in general, but we forgive it when it's a guy and not Ray.
yeah,
Which they ended up butchering Ray's character in episode 9 anyway. So
yeah.
we took the defense and we were not really right.
Well, it turns out it wasn't the actors or their characters that were the problem.
Not at all.
It was the writers and the producers.
They did John Boyega dirty. He's a good fucking actor that you whitewashed him to shit.
Yeah. I was so excited. I'm like, Oscar Isaac's in this movie, kind of.
Yeah. And he is some of the best parts of it. It's just not enough of it.
Yeah. I mean, he probably has less screen time than Vader. We talked about how Vader in this trilogy, and Vader in this one has I don't remember what I said now, 30 something minutes total.
We didn't talk about the fucking bounty hunters. We talked about Boba Fett. Dengar, Boba Fett, IG-88. It's LO something. Lom 4, Zuckuss,
Zuckerberg.
and then Bosk.
Bosk is wearing a spacesuit
Yeah, it's a rebel one.
that was previously featured in the Doctor Who serial, The 10th Planet.
Ugh.
So it was previous to that. That's what it was in.
Yeah, it was used on that. It was just a reused prop because
Bosk is the
they're
reptilian.
And IG-88 being the same or just that model?
That IG-11 is from Boba Fett or Mando.
Mando. Okay.
Yeah, IG-88.
So
is this one.
IG-88.
Or do I
is
have
that
that backwards?
No, this is IG-88. I
Okay.
know most of the bounty hunters' names because MC Chris
Yeah.
had that famous the
Nice.
Fet's Vet song,
Uh-huh.
and it was kind of the biggest thing he ever did. So he over
never
the
heard
years
this.
released. You haven't heard Fet's Vet?
No.
Oh, it's good.
Cool.
He's bounty hunting to finance his Corvette. But over the years, he released different ones about all the bounty hunters and their vehicles. I think Dengar has a van.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, like I said, we can make a whole episode about just deep diving each one of these because IG-88 especially has a really fucking cool.
You said
Sto-
especially.
Especially.
That's how you say it in
It's
Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, shit.
He has an especially cool backstory
It's
about
spelled
taking over the Death Star.
EXCXEXC, especially.
So I had gotten, I don't remember who from, family friend or something, a lot of the original Star Wars figures. And I saved almost all of them. And I had IG-88, and I believe Dengar, is that the reptilian looking one?
No,
Yeah.
that's
That's Bosk.
Okay, that's
Boss,
Boss.
the
Okay.
Trandoshan.
And
Dengar's the turban wrap
Okay.
bandage guy.
Okay, I don't know.
The
if I-
humanish
But
one.
Yeah,
I had
he's
those ones,
Corellian.
And I really didn't know because I didn't know the movie super well that those were characters. So I knew obviously Han and Leia and my Luke and all that, but I did not know. So years later, I still had those ones,
Fuck
and I was
yeah.
like, "Holy shit!" I thought this was a RoboCop one and whatever. I'm these were all the same. I thought they were different
Uh-huh.
ones. And the little short guy who looks like a Star Trek dude.
Zuckuss.
Okay, yep.
And he's working with the Loam 4
It's called Meta.
Meta. He's working with the metaverse.
metaverse.
Zuckersberg.
I do like though Boba Fett's Princess Bride line in here.
What's the princess? Oh, as you wish.
Yeah, because Vader's like, no disintegrations. And he's like, as you wish, which means I love you.
It was in that moment that Darth Vader realized when Boba Fett said "as you wish," it meant "I love you."
Yeah,
That's the
sorry,
fan
I was
fiction we're
skipping.
about to
I was
go
skipping
on.
through and trying to like do the one storyline and just missed that.
Yeah, I just love it because it's. I mean, you just kind of touched on it. Growing up, I was just like, "Holy shit! I want a story on each one of these motherfuckers." Talking about a little bit of screen time. Boba Fett was my favorite character. I mean, still is in the original trilogy.
But yeah, so Luke is training with his Yoda backpack.
Running and jumping.
And this is another one of those things that they changed the audio because Yoda's not saying anything. He does the first part when he's running, he's not saying anything, and then later on, he's like talking about how you can't give into the dark side and da da da. He's talking to him while he's running.
Yeah.
But apparently, they added in stuff where he's like, "Yes, run," and I'm like,
drive.
"Why? Why do you don't need to add that? It's just
No.
it's like the Tatooine scene or the Mos Eisley scene.
It's
Like,
not
you don't
added.
What,
need
this was
to add
special
all this.
edition?
Yeah, it was on the special
Oh,
editions. They
wow.
just added him being like, "Yes, run." I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it's also just entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
You got someone older who doesn't realize it's a special edition watching it going, should I go to a doctor? A lot of these lines are different than what I'm remembering, and I'm wondering if my brain is...
The editor would have got with the sound editor and been like, hey, we want to insert this here, right?
Yeah.
Like, there we go. Let's use this take of him saying anything at any time and put that there. As
But I
an
mean,
encouragement.
we should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first one came out and it was just called Star Wars. And then it's re-released and it's Star Wars, A New Hope.
Episode
And then I think
4.
it was... Did they add episode 4 right away?
I think so.
Oh,
I
okay.
As soon
think
as Empire came out.
no. I think the re-release in '78, the re-release of Star Wars was definitely was called A New Hope. I think at that point it was called Episode 4 as well.
Okay.
Because they just knew that.
Yeah, and
The
it's like,
stu-
so he was
every
already...
studio is like, if Fox won't do it, we will.
Yeah. So he was already retconning shit from day one.
Oh
so-
yeah, he's a fucking fiddler. Like he's just always tweaking.
Smart.
But Luke has to go into this little like force cave where he fights himself. Well, he fights Darth Vader, but it turns out it's him.
I love the line though, because like, what's in that cave? Only what you take with you.
Yeah, only your baggage, dude.
Like, yeah, he's not saying like whatever you have in your pockets. He's like, whatever the fuck is in your head is gonna be in there. Like whatever baggage you're hung up on.
And
Get ready to fight
apparently,
it.
this face, they had done like a dummy head for it because it's just a head laying on the ground,
yeah,
but they didn't like the way it looked. So they ended up doing a thing because all this is like a lifted stage because that's where the puppeteers are. So they had done a thing where like Mark Hamill could put his face in there.
but
but
build
so
a
it was
helmet
like-
around it.
Yeah, so like, well, they had the helmet and they just left where the dummy would be. Like they cut a hole in it so he could put his head in there, basically.
Yeah,
But he said it was fucking terrible because he's like, one, he's like having to stand on and do this weird thing to get his head in there the right way, and then two, there's all this smoke and like wind and stuff, and he's like, I have to sit there unblinking like a dead head
Ugh.
while there's just smoke blowing in my eyes and stuff.
Now Vader was sitting there taking it.
My next two sections of Luke stuff starts with more training. Because we love to watch training.
It's a montage.
The X-wing sinks all the way down, or most of the way down.
Yeah,
He tries to pull it out, and it sinks even more.
but Yoda's the pull-out master.
Well, I do like too. He's like, look, I was lifting a rock. That's cool, but this is a ship. It's huge. And Yoda's like, dude, it's the same thing. Size doesn't
matters
matter.
not.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Would you judge me? And Luke's like, no. Blink, blink.
I always have kind of hated the line "do or do not." There is no try. Because how do you do it? You got to try. You
Well,
have
you-
to do it.
Yeah, but you're
Wait,
just going to keep
what-
going. It's
what
not
he's-
trying.
what- the way
Right.
he's
Keep-
saying it,
but
though,
I do agree.
I mean, I know what you're saying. Is it is silly because you're
It's silly.
trying and you're either succeeding or not. But that's what he's saying. He's like, don't go into it thinking I'll try. Go into it thinking I'll do this, and if
And
you
then
don't, then you
yeah.
don't.
Wait till we get to Rebels.
I will.
Kanan Jarrus has a good explanation of it.
Well, that'll be 2030.
Yeah. Not the way we're flying.
I'll be ready to
buddy.
watch. I'll be ready to watch at that point. No, I've heard really good
I'm
things
going home
about
watching tonight, man.
I've heard really good
That's
things
some of the
about a
best
lot
storytelling in Star Wars.
animated- Yeah.
I love like Luke just throws a hissy fit, and he's like, "Dude, you want the impossible," and walks away. And Yoda's like, "Yeah, hold my beer, dude.
Hold my stick.
Hold my blue milk.
Oh, my root soup.
And he barely concentrates. Like he half closes his eyes. He's watching so he can see Luke's reaction.
He's got a computer screen open on the other side, checking his day trading. How do you think he affords this lavish lifestyle?
He's playing Candy Crush, watching his day trading, and he's fucking pulling this X-Wing over.
He wants to see how the Coruscant Raiders are doing in the new fucking sporty ball.
My new meta goggles are doing great for all my multitasking.
God, I've been seeing ads for those. I'm not happy.
That's when Luke's like, I don't believe it. And he's like, and that is why you fail, bitch. He didn't say bitch, but he should.
I know, but I wish Yoda clapped back a little bit more like that.
Yeah. So there's more training, and this is when Luke has a vision of Han and Leia in trouble. And he's like, are they going to die? And Yoda's like, probably not.
I don't think so. It's kind of hard to tell.
I can't say for 100% they won't die.
Look, I saw a vision, and yeah, they died, but that doesn't mean it's true.
There's many alternate happenings.
Everyone dies. Die or do not die. There is no live.
I'll tell you what, they won't look as good as me or as young as me when they die.
Looks like they ain't making 900 years old. That's all I'm saying.
So then Luke is like, look, I gotta go. And Obi Ghost Kenobi and Yoda are both sitting there like, dude, you can't go right now. Because if you go right now, you're going to turn to the dark side because you're powerful, but you're not trained. You're not disciplined yet.
Right.
And he's like, I'll come back.
I'll be right back. It's going to take 8 to 10 weeks.
Maybe Dagobah's closer.
Well, he has a hyperdrive.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it is.
Well, they had a hyperdrive.
The Dago by slower there.
When they went to Bespin, they jumped out into hyper.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
they fixed it while they were in
so
the
maybe
thing.
they couldn't go full. I mean, because there is different speeds in hyperdrive.
I
We
mean,
know-
the
we
way
know
this
that
is
much.
the way this is cut, it couldn't be 8 to 10 weeks, but also it could be like we're seeing what's happening when he arrives, but all that other stuff was happening before,
Yeah.
because like they're there when he leaves, and then it's like 10 minutes later and he gets there. So, but it's all you have to accept the flow of time in a movie,
Right.
So,
Especially as sci-fi.
yeah, and it's like whatever, and that's when Obi-Wan he's like, okay, fine, if you're gonna go, that's fine. Don't give in to hate because that's gonna fuck your shit up.
Yeah. Earlier scene, Yoda was saying at one point, he's like, you're gonna fall to the dark side, and looks like, is it more powerful? Like he asked him. I think he was just asking, but like his face, like, can I use that to win? Do you think I should go to the dark side? I could take on the whole Emperor if I go to the dark side.
And then we have that little like
Don't
teaser.
go full dark side though. Just
have
like half dark side.
What if I dabble in the dark side? Like you see my force push, put a little lightning in it.
And we have that little teaser
combining
of,
bogans.
well, he does. I mean, maybe not in canon anymore, but in the legend stuff at least, he
Ashla
does.
was the name of the force. Bogan was the good side or bad side.
Oh, okay. But he does use force lightning and shit, right, Luke, in the EU stuff?
Yes,
the
in the
legend
EU.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
You can't do it unless you went to the dark side. You can come back and still be able to do it, but I don't think there's ever been a pure light side Jedi that can muster up force lightning. Maybe the High Republic, they make it rain.
I mean, there's a dude in there, and there's a whole storyline about him trying to like not give into the dark side. He taps into the dark side to basically pull this giant ship out of the sky as it's about to kill everybody.
Right.
There's a big battle going on. There's a bunch of people. His friends are about to die. They're going to destroy this whole planet and do all this stuff. And he just like fucking takes down this entire ship with just like his brain. And then he has to spend a whole book crying about it and not using the force. And of course, all this terrible shit's happening. And he's like, but I can't use the force because if I do, I'm not ready.
I saved all those people, but I'm not going to save any of those people.
So then we'll go back to Han and company on Bespin. And like, yeah, when they get there, there's those little escort ships that are shooting across their nose. And they're like, dude, don't just come with us.
It's like a Skyhawk, I think it's called.
And she's like, I thought you knew this guy. And we got Chewie that's like, "Rrr." And he's like, yeah, he probably forgot about that.
There's no way he still remembers that. It's more of that Chewie talking, and we have to assume what he's saying that we love.
And we meet Lando and Lobot.
Lobot.
Lobot. This is from StarWars.com.
Is it short for lobotomy?
It doesn't have probably. It doesn't have that. But their thing, he's a man of few words, unable to vocalize, but able to communicate directly through the city's central computer. He can process data and information at machine-like speeds thanks to his cybernetic headpiece, but the ability comes at a cost. He was once human and Lando's compatriot, but a heist gone wrong resulted in his cybernetic implants completely removing his personality. Nevertheless, he remains loyal to his friend Lando, who is determined to cure him of his emotionless condition.
Okay, I wondered about that guy.
So we've talked about it before.
Lobot, dude.
The
It is
enhancements
lobotomy.
are kind of a lobotomy type thing. Like you are still human, but there's a Rhodian who gets it in the Rebel story, and he just is a little bit off. He still is able to talk and stuff, unlike Lobot, but he's just very cold and calculated. He's very like Derrick. He's just, there's no emotion there.
With Lobot's thing, it sounds a lot more like he's on life support and he should be dead.
Right.
Like it's like, well, you're dead, but this machine will breathe for you.
Right. Oh, fucking KB.
Yeah, kind
She
of like
can
that.
speak, but like we saw what happens when her shit goes out.
I
Yeah.
don't know about any of this.
Skeleton crew.
I know.
Skeleton crew,
I
yeah.
think I'm on episode 4.
Oh, well,
Oh.
shouldn't have caught
I'm gonna
off.
catch up.
Spoilers.
But he comes out, you slimy, double-crossing, no-good swindler. Billy D. Williams, I have to mention. I did read that they tried to get Yaphet Kotto.
I do know who that is.
Yeah.
From Blade Runner?
Blade Runner, Alien.
Mhm.
He's hanging out with Harry Dean Stanton in Alien.
Mhm.
But he didn't want to do it because he's like, I'm the black guy in Star Wars. I'm going to die.
Right.
And this is going to fuck up like future things for me. I don't want to be the guy that just dies all the time because he
And
died in
little
Alien.
did you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's, how you doing, you old pirate?
Yeah.
After he acts like, or does he hit him?
No, he pretends. Like he does like
he
this.
goes
Huh?
back.
Get in here, pimpin'.
Chewbacca in hand.
Chewbacca in hand.
and you
You pimp master pimps.
We have 3PO.
You
meeting-
hairy-footed motherfucker.
someone get Chewbacca a water dish.
And 3PO
You want me to
meets,
chain up your pet?
no pets inside, please. We have a,
Chewie's, I'm gonna rip
we
your
have, we
fucking
have a
arms
trough outside.
off. He can sleep outside with the tauntauns. He'll be quite comfortable there.
I mean, this is a flying planet. There is no ground, presumably.
Right.
So they'd be like Minox, not Tauntauns.
No, they got like AstroTurf. Oh, puffer pigs. They raise puffer pigs.
Well, we get our first, I think it's our first official like Star Wars cuss word. Unless you count McClunky from the
Yeah,
specialized editions.
I kind of do.
But it's not in this. It's not in the real movies. So,
All right.
yeah, 3PO meets this other 3PO. And yeah, Achuta. Well, how rude.
How woo.
And then 3PO gets blasted. He walks in this room and it's like, what are you doing here?
You're gonna mess up our whole fucking trap, dude.
And then when he wakes up later, he's like, Peter Falk is here.
Yeah, I love when he does come to, and we're skipping some stuff we'll come back to, but when he comes to, he's like, oh no, Stormtrooper's here. Oh, I've been shot. Hello.
I must warn everyone.
I love Chewie's like out looking for him and he finds 3PO. Like he just goes to the garbage just in case.
Yeah.
And 3PO, like these Ugnaughts are about to just toss 3PO in the trash into this fucking smelter.
Yep.
And they're like, more garbage.
And Chewie's a gearhead. He's like, let me go see what I can find that they call scrap.
Yeah. I'll just build me a new 3PO.
I don't need, he wasn't looking for 3PO. He's looking for a replacement. He's like, oh, thank God. 3PO's gone. I can find anybody else. Also, gold. Oh, how gauche.
And I love Lando trying to hit on Leia this whole time. Like this first time he like grabs her hand and he's kissing it and Han just walks up and takes her hand and he's like, yeah, let's go
We're
inside.
gonna
You
go
old
steal
smoothie.
And apparently that was something that he just did because it was like Han, he wanted Han to look like he'd be jealous. Like, no.
Right.
And I'm wondering if the very last meeting was the winning of the Falcon. Like, was that the?
Well, that's in Solo.
That's not the last time they met, I'm betting.
Oh, I was assuming
There's-
that's what he was talking about though when he's like,
When-
he would have forgotten about
yeah,
that
that's
because
what
he
I was
scammed
wondering.
him out
if
of
Chewie,
the
like,
I think, I
there
hope,
has been
Chewie was
more
like, this is his
interaction.
ship, and he's
Right.
like, that was a long time ago, dude.
I hope that
there
they
was
had
more
other
interaction.
things, you know?
Their friendship seems to say that they've met more than just the.
well,
Solo
there are
movie.
287 books between
Oh
that
yeah.
mess,
Oh
so I'm
yeah.
sure they've
so,
had some more adventures.
Right.
in canon.
Well, I mean, those
quite a
don't
few,
count
I'm
anymore,
sure.
but,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
did have
There's gonna be some
plenty of
canon,
adventures.
some canon comics or books. That
Oh, yeah.
probably.
Oh, yeah,
have
for
them.
shiz.
Yeah.
I do like when Lando comes into their little like the room he's got them in there, and they've got the pile of 3PO parts,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, having trouble with your droid?
Well, because somebody said, like, why don't we have Lando? No.
Having
Yeah.
trouble
Don't
with
have
your
Lando
droid.
touch our fucking droid.
But like, are you
dude.
having trouble? And Han's like, no, why?
Yeah. The look, though, it must have, now that we've seen Solo, it must have been him like, remember when my droid died? We didn't just put her back together.
He just starts having flashbacks. L3, L3.
I mean, he must have, like, when he looks at the Millennium Falcon, he must be like, oh, there's my girl, and I
Yeah.
mean my girl. I fucked that ship, you know?
I'm gonna go dry hump your pilot's chair.
He just tapping people. I fucked that ship, you know?
I also have a scomplink.
I have a scomplink.
R2D2, hand me your droid dick. I'm trying to dock.
We're going to interface
But this,
in her face.
this is when he like betrays them, right? He's like, hey, don't worry, guys. He's telling them all about their operation and this and that. He's like, but I made a deal that'll keep the Empire out of here forever.
I'm sorry.
Doors open.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Fucking Leia is trying to take Han to meet her fucking dad. He went through all the trouble of setting up this really nice dinner, and your future son-in-law just opens fire. Come on.
And I think if I'm remembering right, I was trying to think about it earlier. This is the only time that Darth Vader and Han are ever. I mean, it's this and then the carbon scene are ever in the room together, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, maybe a space battle, but not really.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
no. I guess they were kind of
Flying.
in a room together. He was in a different room in that first movie.
They're in the
Yeah.
Death Star
Because
together.
When
they're right on
Ben's
the other side of a
getting-
doorway, so
when
technically
Ben's
it's a
getting
different
knocked
room.
down.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't share a lot of scenes is a better thing, too.
yeah, this is the only time they're face to face for sure.
Mhm.
This, and
Well,
of
they're still
course-
not
It's just too
face-to-face.
much
Of
big,
course, the-
big dick
the-
energy going on at one time. It just can't.
You want the whole auditorium to get pregnant?
But yeah, that's when they get sent to jail, or Chewie does it first, and
Do you
that's when he
think-
wakes up 3PO, and then they're torturing Han
Oh, yeah.
for no reason because he's like, they didn't even ask me any
There's
questions.
a deleted
face
scene
down.
of Carrie Fisher getting tortured, too, and everyone's like, it makes it too dark. Like, it makes
I remember
it
hearing
way
about
too
that
dark.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah. When Vader blocks the shots, do you think he's using the Force or just his robot hand? Do you think
probably
he's
a
like
little bit of both? He
blocking
wants
it or
to
just
double up.
tanking that damage? Like, dude, try it.
He wants to double up.
All right.
He works for the Empire. He's like always shields up.
You have any idea how much these gloves cost?
These are real Yeezys.
This is made from Tauntaun
You can see
skin.
the swastika on the back.
Elon and the Doge Foundation are trying to cut back, but I still got these bad boys.
Leave politics out of Star Wars, guys. George Lucas did.
Well, like, so Lando's like, look, we made a deal, all right? Leia and Chewie can stay here with me. They'll be safe. Weird that I made the deal that Leia could stay here with me. But Han's going
As
to
long as she fucks me once a day, it's the Empire said she has to fuck me once a day.
It's part of the
It's
deal.
not my rule.
Pray that I don't alter it any further.
Great. Now she has to peg me a day.
All I said was you had to have sex. I didn't say
Mm.
who's fucking who.
I didn't say who was top.
By the way, Casual Friday. Be ready.
Margarita Monday, guys. Am I right?
But Boba Fett gets to take Han because they're just looking for some Skywalker guy. I don't know
Yeah.
who that is. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, looking for a Skywalker.
A Skywalker.
Han sucker punches Lando, which is pretty
Oh, yeah.
cool. He deserves it. And then we
Yes,
go,
he does deserve it, but also like he's in charge of an entire floating mining
No,
city.
and I mean that's the point he doesn't make well later. He's like, I'm not just doing this like he's like I'm not just looking out for myself or something like
Right.
that. He's looking out for all these people, which is fair.
But imagine you're super like if you had a schwarmy friend that was always out for themselves, and now all of a sudden they're doing this. You're like, I don't buy it. You're out for yourself. You're using these people as a cover, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. We get the really cool carbonite freezing scene.
Dude,
And
this, I'm sorry, I just don't want to skip over it. This is my favorite fucking background in Star Wars. My favorite scenery.
Oh, this room
This-
is awesome.
This orange floor, the stairs, like everything here.
Well, then I love when Vader sets it up for Luke later and he turns off all the lights except the stair ones.
Yes,
He's like, yeah, this is my rave club.
yes, dude. Is this mood lighting cool? This is pretty rad.
Is this Chad or what?
I got
This
this
is
on.
totally Chad.
I got this on Temu. Pretty cheap.
There was a
actually.
TikTok vid I saw, and I just
You guys
really-
synced up these Govee lights to the sunset outside.
Man,
Anyone want some spice? All right,
I know I'll never
Pump
be
some
able
spice
to.
going
But
around.
I want to take some mushrooms on Bespin. Imagine watching a sunrise from the sun's point of view.
But like I never really caught in the past, I guess. Like I mean I knew now, but when I was younger, I remember when I first realized this, like this thing is just for like freezing cargo, and they say it, but it's not like explicit so much. I mean, he says we're gonna test it on Solo,
Right.
And he's like, and he tells Boba Fett like, yeah, we'll pay you if he dies. But it just
You're
as a
gonna get
kid,
your
it doesn't
money.
really register that like this is not for putting humans in. Like I just thought like, oh, this is the way they store people,
Oh no, I
like
knew like
prisoners, because we see it a lot in other stuff. They do it more later on, but I
we
guess
see
this,
it later
this is the
on.
test
in-
run.
Yeah, Mando, and he had it on his fucking ship.
Yeah. So the word got around. Boba Fett
Uh-huh.
was like, dude, you guys. So wait, I gotta. Ricky Baker?
I've
Dude,
got this way of
You
freezing
guys,
people.
I found out we can freeze people, and they're so much easier to handle that way.
They can't fight back if they're frozen.
I was a little
fucking-
more Australian.
It's
But
the fucking best way to do it, you know. Frozen and fucking carbonated and all messing around back there in my fucking cargo hold.
I don't have to dump out my toilet as often on the ship.
We call it a refresher. Have some tact. Be a gentleman. I'm just as mad at my beer can right now for being empty.
But I love Chewie. Like he flips out and starts trying to throw these. He is throwing stormtroopers around, and Han's like, "Dude, calm down. You're not gonna help anything right now."
Yeah, you're gonna get everybody killed.
And like this is another moment, like earlier when he was trying to save Leia, we see that he actually cares, even though he can't act like it other times, because he's like, "You have to take care of Leia for me, because
Right.
I'm gonna be a stone or dead."
Probably
and-
dead. I think they were even toying with him being
Well,
dead.
he didn't want to come back. He wanted to be
Right.
dead in the first one,
Right.
And so this scene, well, actually, this might be the most famous, not the one I said before. The "I love you." Right
Uh-huh.
before he goes in, she's like, "I love you," and he's like, "I
I
know."
know.
The original line was like, "I'll be back," or "I'll see you another time," or "I'll be back soon," or something like that. But he didn't want to come back. And then so they had something else here, and there's a story that this was improvised by Harrison Ford, but then I guess there's like behind the scenes footage, or there's something where he was talking with Lawrence Kasdan about it, and they kind of came up with it together, and he's like, "Yeah, let's
Right.
do that."
That's always been the legend, though, that he did it the way I always heard it growing up before I'd seen the footage like that, but is that he had tried other stuff. And he's like, doesn't feel right. Like, I love you. I love you too. And like, oh, it doesn't feel right. My character wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And story was that he just was like, let me do one more take. I know. Mic drop.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
it
and I
was-
think he supposedly was fed up with all the takes, and he's like, "I'll do one last take."
Yeah.
Well, and
That
it might
was
have been a
supposedly it.
Harrison Ford line. It's
Uh-huh.
just that he definitely discussed it
Yeah.
with Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah.
Or I said Lawrence
Kirsch-
Kasdan before too, I think. Irving Kershner.
Irving Kershner.
Yeah.
Well, Chasm was maybe there helping with because he's script, you know.
Yeah.
So he might have been talking dialogue with him.
Because I mean, even in this case, he could still die and not come back.
Right.
Like they're leaving it to where like he's in this, and they say like, yeah, he's alive, but that doesn't mean he stays alive.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, quick question. Did you? I'm sure you mentioned the editor. Is it the same editor from A New Hope?
I'm
you
not.
remember?
No, I didn't mention.
His
I'm not sure.
ex-wife.
His ex-wife was.
It was at the time of New Hope. It was his wife.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think there was somebody else too. It was her and somebody else.
A lot of people
Maybe
in
it was
his
this
inner
guy
circle.
who edited this one was a co-editor of A New Hope.
A lot of people in his inner circle say that her editing saved the movie. Like he just had.
Oh, I read
footage.
that the original cut of this was unwatchable.
Yeah.
Like it was horrible.
Yeah.
And then like they had somebody else edit it, and then George went in and edited it, and people were like, "That's kind of worse."
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably when he brought her in, and she's like, "Let me fix this." And actually, it's kind of a famous thing. Other directors have said. I know Quentin Tarantino has said it, but females tend to be like a lot of these directors see them as better with editing for whatever reason. There's
Huh.
something about like a lot of the best editors are women, and like there's a woman that Tarantino worked with for almost his entire career, and she died. And his last couple movies, he had a different editor, and his last couple movies were 3 hours long.
Right.
They can't get to the meat of it. Like,
yeah, and I mean
this is
they were still good.
Yeah,
but she would have come in there and maybe trimmed some of the fat. And there's one thing I noticed, and it's not a big thing, but I like to point out the little weird things.
Sure.
Han goes in, he's in binders, and he's like this. But when he comes out,
He's
like
doing that.
this.
He picked his lock because he's a rough and tough scoundrel.
see, I was like, Jack's gonna have a story, and I bet you it's gonna be like, well, see, the carbonite spray actually breaks them, but he doesn't have time to escape.
It probably does, but I like mine where he's like, I'm gonna get out of this. Ah,
Man, I never thought about that for continuity.
I never thought about it until watching it
Man,
today because
yeah.
we've been doing these.
it makes it
podcasts
cooler.
and-
That's
Yeah, it looks-
That's
it's a cool
the
pose.
only answer, but
Yeah.
yeah. It's as far as continuity, like I can make it up in my head really quick. I got no problem living in delusions.
So Vader is like all right, now take the Wookiee and the princess to my ship. And Lando is like,
Excuse me. I thought I had that fuck
point
contract.
of order.
Point of order. I had that fuck contract.
I was gonna
I
put a
am
cape
altering
around
the
both
deal.
of them.
he does the same thing he did in the first one. I am altering the deal. I pray I do not alter it further.
I was gonna make the Wookiee watch.
I need a towel when I'm done.
Oh God. Chewie, you old fluff rug.
Get your hairy friend over here.
Oh, that's why you want Chewie around. He's a fluffer.
Uh-huh. I mean, we know Lando is
Ner.
what do you call it? Not
Polysexual or pansexual.
pansexual.
Yeah.
Like that dude just likes a
He fucks pans.
yes. I mean, we saw that fucking L3 droid.
Yeah.
Should have panned for a head.
But not a pan for a butt. I don't know.
She was curvy. Sorry, I've been hanging out with Lando too long. Robots are hot, dude.
He's like, someone install bowling balls on my droid's butt, please.
I'm just happy you guys don't have a Roomba. These things always play hard to get.
So Luke is sneaking around Bespin. Is Bespin the planet or the city? The city is
the-
Cloud
There's
City.
Yeah,
no
the planet.
right?
Well,
Well, it's a gas planet.
Right. Okay. So
yeah.
Because
That's
I'm always
Bespin
because like
would be-
Dago, we call Dagobah, but it's the Dagobah system. It's the Xth planet of Dagobah system.
unsurprisingly, there's a lot of times that they double up on it. Like when
Okay.
we talked about the bounty hunter Zuckuss. He's Gand from the planet Gand.
I've noticed a lot of them are like Tertianon 4 or whatever. It's-
Yavin 4.
Yeah, so it's the number of the planet because they're not inhabited. So
Well,
they don't
Yavin
have-
4 is the fourth moon of Yavin. So like it just there's just
Okay.
the fourth moon of Endor is often referred to as Endor.
Yeah.
Like when you say, oh, they were on Endor and someone corrects you and it's like, actually it's the fourth moon of Endor. Doesn't matter. It's called Endor, dude.
I mean,
Fuck
the
off.
Ewok special is called Battle for Endor.
Yeah.
And they're not on Endor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just, it's what it's called.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
Okay,
So,
well,
same
is
thing.
Bespin a Jupiter or is it just a massive gas?
It's more
Is it-
Uranus.
All right.
Massive gas it is. I'm fine.
It's kind of like a very small Venus.
Dude, you give me Venus envy over there. Well, your planet's looking.
Oh no, Venus! It's crashing into Uranus.
Put the Venus in Uranus.
Leia has a line here when Luke finds her. She can yell, "It's a trap!"
Dude, I was like,
yeah, I
man.
did hear it's a
I
trap.
was like, man, she yells it's a trap, and we didn't like. Nobody made fun of it. Nobody on the set was like, I know this movie hasn't been made yet, but it's a trap. George just likes certain lines.
Yeah.
And I think he's like, we got to write this in. I know I'm not writing this movie, but if it doesn't say it's a trap, it's not a good movie. If it doesn't say, I got a bad feeling about this. If it doesn't say,
It's a trap 6? Or was
Yeah.
it in the okay? I was trying to remember. I was like, it's not in the last one.
no.
There's only the one big
oh,
battle.
so this is the precursor. Okay.
So actually, Admiral Akbar is doing a Leia.
He
Yeah.
is.
Okay. He wishes.
Pretend. So do I. I'd watch that.
especially in that.
He
in
doesn't
episode
improve. He's
6,
doing it.
especially.
What we don't know. Yeah.
Especially. right?
Especially. What we don't know is he's actually mocking Leia. He's like, oh, it's a trap. But his vocal cords are like, it's a trap.
This is my most girly voice I can make. It's a trap.
Sorry, the women on my planet sound like this. It's a trap.
Yeah, his normal voice is actually like this.
Actually, this is my speaking voice.
So Luke goes into the carbon freezing room where he's taken in there, and it's just like it's all the lights are off. Like I said, it's like he's getting ready for the rave. Just the lights on the stairs are on, and we get that super intimidating shot of Vader at the top, like
Oof.
just like the silhouette. It's pretty fucking good.
It's pretty fucking amazing.
There's gonna be like a techno-y trap song of "It's a Trap." It's like it's a trap.
It's a trap. Trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah, this is. I said it earlier. One of my favorite backgrounds. My favorite background in Star Wars. Like this scene is etched into my memory of just the set design, colors. It's what got me into Star Wars early.
When they can do different colors because it was all orange when they were freezing Han. Now it's blue.
Let you know it's safe.
When we were designing this, we were thinking Darth Maul meets Palpatine, and I just want to think. What do you think about it?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it's just a really cool place to have a battle.
You know, he's
A
not wrong.
lightsaber duel.
This room costs us a lot of money, but it is a nice battle room.
And it is a pretty good battle.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
It's better than the Obi-Wan.
I was gonna say the only lightsaber battle we've had thus far is a couple little things. Darth Vader going, heh, heh, and then Obi-Wan giving up. There's a lot of going on in this one, and like
I had a weird thought while while watching. Did you ever play the second Cal Kestis game, Jedi Survivor?
No.
There's different sword stances you can do, and one is you have a blaster and you have a lightsaber. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool and innovative. No, Luke's been doing it all the original trilogy.
Yeah, because when he's sneaking around, he's running around with a blaster.
Because he was probably raised with blasters, lightsabers new.
Yeah.
He has less
Dude,
training.
he
with
played
it.
a lot of KOTOR. He knows
He
what
played
the
a lot.
fuck's up,
He
dude. Dual
he
wielding.
specced into dual wielding.
Boom.
He should have specced into charisma. I'd like him more.
Dude, he can't act.
I was supposed
He
to use
can't
my
act
skill
in
points on the
either of these.
charisma.
He can't act in this one either.
No, he
he
can't.
barely could act in one.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, I with the Hungarian redub I was telling you guys about. So it was done like 3 times.
hairy souls.
It was done like 3 times with different actors, like each time it was released, basically. And I guess the 1995 one, I think it was, the guy who was doing Luke's voice did like a really, really good job. And so they actually told him, "Can you act worse?"
It's the things you're saying are unbelievable coming out of that mouth. I need you to dumb it down.
So we do see Lando. He flips on the Imperials. He does his little wrist pager and wakes up Lobot, who's just charging, I guess. He's in his own masturbation shit pod.
I'm going to take a shit and I'm horny.
Meditation chamber.
Vader's over there. He's like, tell me about it, brother.
Meditation, that's the word he used.
Defecation, mastication.
Mastication.
This is wild.
Masturbator.
We got time for these jokes, guys. We've got time.
Masturbators, masturbator.
Almost killed me with that joke. Master Vader's masturbator. You know what happens if you don't fucking pass Sith school? You clean out the masturbator. That's the job you get.
Damn.
We're not going to kill you for being a really bad Sith, but you are going to clean up some really disgusting stuff.
I'm doing my part to fuel the ship.
We're a little low on fuel. I've been jacking off and not eating.
Originally, we started with the compost system, but now we just incinerate and.
So Lando lets Han out of, or not Han. Han's
Yeah, come
frozen.
back from that.
Lando lets Chewie out of his binders, and Chewie is just choking this dude out. And I mean, those paws are huge. Just and he's doing a good job of playing the choke.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Billy D is doing good here. He's like, ah! Or sorry, not Han.
Oh, yeah.
Hand. Why is he trying to yell hand?
I think he's saying harder. I microdose.
Is that all you got, bitch?
I microdose with self-choking, so I have a tolerance.
But he's like, I had no choice. You still have a chance to save Han on the East platform. That's where Boba Fett is. So they run out there, but they're too late.
First
And-
time we ever see the Slave One.
Yeah. No, second time.
Oh, sorry.
But we barely saw
yeah.
it. Yeah.
This is when we see it on its fucking landing, though.
Yeah, the way it tilts up and then flies
Yeah,
away.
'cause we saw it fly. And well, we saw it in
I just like that they're
prequels,
shooting
but-
at it. I'm like, wait, your friend's on there. There's no ground.
I
If
guess
you-
you're hoping that like he hits the engine, but the repulsors still work.
Because
don't
like he
know.
gets over the edge of the thing and they're still shooting at him. I think my battery pack died.
I think so.
It becomes a fire spray.
Yeah, the make is a fire spray. The name was always Slave One because he had others. There's a different ship called the Slave 2 altogether. But then Disney got a hold and was like, well, we don't want to touch on the sticky subject of slavery.
Yeah, we don't ever talk about slavery in Star Wars.
And that was about when they were going to do that. Wait till we get to the Clone Wars. That was about when they probably realized they were going to make Boba Fett a good guy. And you don't want your good
Yeah.
guy to be associated
Yeah.
with an ex-slaver.
Yeah.
I think it makes a great redemption story. And he never talked about being
I mean,
a
he's
slave.
not South African, right?
He's a slave.
Like-
He's a slave. He's a slave to bounty hunting. But yeah, the slave part never it's not necessarily slavery. He's a slave to the craft. He's a slave to credits, cold hard credits.
I mean,
Like,
he's a bounty hunter. He's stealing people for slavery.
yeah.
That's what it is.
not necessarily, but yes.
We're all slaves in some way, Derrick.
during the battle
Some
here.
of us are
We're all
addicted to
slaves to something.
Some of us are addicted to a shitty masturbation chamber.
Darth Vader's masturbator.
We have Darth Vader like tricks Luke into falling into the carbon chamber, and it's the first, or I guess it's the second use of like force to jump.
Flip.
Because Vader just used it to like hover down the stairs a second ago. So I guess, but like, cause he turns his back for us, he's like, too easy, bitch.
Yeah.
Turns around and you just
I
see
fucking
Luke
got
fucking
you, you
fly out of
noob.
there. And then he looks up on the roof and looks up there like a spider monkey, and he's like, impressive.
I wish I could still jump.
Darth Vader starts force moonwalking. Like, you got this
This is
shit.
the reason
It's
Obi,
just a dance up. Say, your turn.
the reason Obi-Wan's ghost wasn't here to help him is because once he jumped on the ceiling, Obi-Wan started having flashbacks to when he was trying to detox off heroin. And there was
yeah.
a baby on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Way too rich for my blood.
he grabbed in. He climbed in the Darth Vader and flushed himself.
Because it's
He
you.
climbed in Darth Master Vader's masturbator and tried to flush himself. But
Because it's Ewan McGregor, right? And Luke Skywalker's a baby, so
yeah. He's a baby in the Force. No.
Just a
Ghost-
baby Anakin on the ceiling with his head spinning around.
Obi Ghost Kenobi was watching. He's like, well, he's got the high ground. It's over from here. Look at him up there. You can't get any higher than that. He's on the roof of a cloud city. It's as high as it goes. You can't get any higher.
That's why when he was hanging off the thing at the bottom, he's like, "You lost the high ground, you loser.
Hey, bitch.
I'm not here to help you now."
You never surrender the high ground. Have I taught you nothing? No, you barely did. Oh, I guess I did die pretty early.
So Lando calls for the evacuation. We get Ice Cream Guy,
Wilro Hood.
Wilro Hood. For a
I've
split
talked
second.
about this guy for a couple different episodes of earlier stuff. It's like at a minute 47, there's an Indian actor going by.
Hour 47.
Sorry, hour 47. Indian actor going by. It's a really cool story. They like conventions dress up as this guy and have the running of the Wilros. And they just all take their fucking ice cream maker and just run through convention halls. It took them forever to track down who the actual actor was. And I'm sorry because the name escapes me. They just found it out. He had passed since, but his daughters were so happy to hear that he left his legacy in any capacity, especially to that fandom. So Star Wars fans at their best are awesome.
And then immediately his daughters sent a letter to Disney and were like, "So do we get residuals?" And, and Disney was like, "Yeah, you get residuals."
Disney figured I was a person of color and took him
think
out of the
how
special
you
edition.
find your next best friend or soulmate is you dress up as that dude for Halloween, and the one person in Tucson that says, "I know that," then
I don't think I should do ethnic face.
Well, you don't have to do the face.
All right,
do the costume,
the costume and the ice cream.
maker,
Cool.
yeah.
I
well,
can do
what if
that.
you did like Indian Native American? Is that okay?
That's still not allowed.
Okay.
That's actually worse because then you're just like, "I'm an Indian guy."
Yeah, it's much worse. We live in Arizona. But yeah, I love me some Wilro Hood, man. That's just deep character.
There's a
dive.
few people running around with big like utensils or like they're small appliances for your kitchen. It's like air fryers and stuff, right? And I just like it's clearly like supposed to be people they're evacuating, so they're taking like important belongings. But all I could think when everybody was running through all this shit was I was like, they're just looting.
Yeah.
This guy's like, this is the best espresso maker at my job, and
I have
everybody's
been
gone.
looking for this ice cream maker, but it's never under $600. I'm getting me an ice cream maker.
He was in there. He's the janitor. He's in there mopping, and they're like, evacuate. And everybody runs out, and he's like, wait for it.
Baby, start the car.
But it turns out you said like the stories people wrote is like it's full of rebel secrets.
Yeah,
and-
the term is Cantano, and we do see it in Mandalorian, but he gets tortured pretty much like in Legends now, I'm pretty sure. But he gets tortured to death and keeps the rebels' secret, takes it to his grave.
He
So
was one of the ones listed on that Star Wars thing, the characters, minor Empire characters you should know. And they said something in there about how like the contents of the Cantano are a mystery. But I'm like, well, it's probably because it's StarWars.com is Disney.
Yeah,
so
that's why.
So there's more
We
shoot
know.
arts. There's more shoot arts.
Ooh,
Shoot darts.
Shoot darts.
They're kind of like lawn darts, but you just have to throw them at people's feet.
Boba Fett has darts that shoot out of his knees.
Shootouts is what I was trying
Oh,
to say.
shootouts.
And R2D2 is trying to hack this door, excuse me,
Thank you.
and he gets electrocuted to fuck. But they do get away. Lando taking the place of Han, and then the rest of our heroes besides Luke all get onto the Falcon, and they get away clean. They're good to go until there's so we finish the lightsaber battle. They're out on this like causeway which does have rails. Luke is not comfortable with rails though, so he climbs out onto the thing that doesn't have any.
I'm much more free on a open walkway.
Have you seen A New Hope? We don't deal with railings
It's
here.
because it wasn't built by Geonosians.
Oh, I know. It's just funny because I'm just in my head. I always saw the scene with no rails too, because everything. I mean, even the Starkiller base doesn't have rails because that's how Han takes the tumble, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's also stabbed to death.
Their
so.
OSHA is oh shit. Like, there's-
Did oh shit approve this? Oh, they did.
They
They
come
did.
take down guardrails. That's a little too safe over there.
Luke's got the idea.
Well,
We are looking
hang
to
from the bottom
You've
of the
always said
city.
it's built by Geonosians who fly. Geonosians?
Yeah.
Whatever, who fly, and that's why they don't have it. I always just like once we started talking about how cheap the Empire is, I was like, oh well, it's because the Empire is like guardrails. What's this million credits earmarked for guardrails?
What about
Yeah, get
also
the Department of Government
Look, you know what? If
Efficiency to
someone's
fix
drinking
this.
while they're on duty, then they should fall off.
Okay, that's the point I was just gonna make. We are talking about Sith, right? If you fucking die, you didn't deserve to live. Like if you're so weak, you need guardrails. I don't want you in my empire.
Yeah, if the Empire trips, or if the Emperor trips, he just floats himself
Whoa, that was a close one.
back.
I was a little tired. I'm glad I had enough force in me.
I
I had a red bantha.
I was a little tired from giving speeches. And
Where am I?
I stumbled a little bit and I fell off.
I just want to make sure you heard the joke about red bantha. It's instead of a Red Bull. Yeah, okay, bulls. I'll move on.
They give you wings.
They give you wings.
Luke gets his hand cut off. That's the third limb in this movie because we had the Wampa.
Yeah.
I guess C-3PO doesn't get a limb cut off. Somebody
He
else
gets all of them cut
Yeah.
off.
somebody
gets
else gets
quite
a
a
limb
limb.
cut off, don't they? Or am I just thinking of New Hope because I watched them back to
I
back?
think of Dr. Cornelius.
I might be.
Amazon.
Or Ponda Baba.
Yeah. Oh, Ponda Baba, it's his arm.
But either way, another arm gets chopped off in Star Wars. And
think
it's
it
when
was
Luke or
second.
Vader's like, "Don't make me destroy you," and it's the big reveal. He's like, "Obi-Wan told me you killed my pappy,"
No.
and he's like, "No, I am your pappy."
I am your Dr. Daddy.
Call me daddy.
I can build you a masturbator. I know a guy.
My fan's too far away. I was thinking before. I was like, I'm gonna grab it and go, "La la lilu, I am your father."
A very misquoted line, too.
Oh yeah, it's always Luke. I am your father, and
But it's like,
it's
no.
But that also, if you just randomly say, "No, I am your father," some people might be like, "Excuse me," but when you
Most
say Luke,
normal people would say that.
yeah, when you say Luke, people are like, "Star Wars guy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. He's not talking to Luke Wilson. We know it's Luke Skywalker. What other Lukes
Gene
are
Hackman. Luke, I'm your father.
there?
It's totally a Wes Anderson.
Give me a fucking cheeseburger.
movie here.
I mean, he is fucking his sister, so.
It's a Luke thing. Gene Hackman is on a bunch of wires and medical equipment at the end.
Oh, but like whiny Luke is back. Is
Does that make
No.
Owen Wilson Yoda?
kind of.
All right, cool.
No,
wow.
it's not true. It's possible.
Is he pissing me?
You know what? I'm just gonna kill myself. And he jumps off this fucking thing
Oh my God, I'm glad he killed himself. My son was such an emo bitch.
because he's telling him, he's like, we can
He
rule
was
the.
screamo even. Did you just hear his reaction?
His bangs all from his face.
Apparently, that's something they added in the special editions too. Was when he's falling, he's screaming.
Oh, really? That's so
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like he
Down
knows
to
he
the-
knows that there's something there, and he's gonna force direct himself. I'm
Or you're
assuming.
falling so much you don't have any breath.
Yeah,
You're just like,
you scream for the first 30 seconds, and you're like,
ugh, ugh. I
All
am
right.
still
I
falling.
mean, he does really drop instead of like get,
oh no, he does it on purpose. That's why it
But-
doesn't make sense for him to scream.
Yeah.
He knew he
Yeah.
did it. He did it. You don't try to. There's not somebody who's like, I'm gonna jump off the Empire State Building. Ah!
was the scream a yeah?
it kind of is like, okay, well, let's solidify him as a bitch here.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Let him scream on the way down to the Falcon.
So he throws himself down this chasm into this Goonies tunnel. He ends up hanging from the bottom of Cloud City, and I don't know if it was this part where he comes out of this tunnel or if it's the part where he gets sucked out of the window, but it's the only stunt that he didn't do. that Mark Hamill didn't do himself. Not that he's doing huge stunts, but he did everything himself other than I read it was one of these things flying out of a window on Cloud City. Now, it might have been the one where Vader pushed him through the window because there's glass involved in that and stuff. But that's kind of cool. Mark Hamill's not a total bitch.
I mean, he's not a big enough star to be like, I'm not doing my own stunts. Like, well, fucking replace you.
Yeah, they said it. The thing I read said it like Mark Hamill did his own stunts. George Lucas is like, 11 million to ILM, bitch. We only got 7 million left. You know how much a stuntman costs?
Leave me alone, Fox.
I'll CG you right out of this fucking movie.
Give me about 30 years. I'll get rid of you. I'll replace you with an all digital goopy gop thing that goes, Asa Misa.
Oh.
Misa Luke Skywalker.
There will be a singer who will
La 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 la. Terrible.
But so Luke reaches out to Leia with the Force, which is also kind of hinting at their connection, I guess, or that she has something too, because they're flying away and he's like, Leia, like, find me, whatever. And as they're about to get away and she's like, we have to turn around, I know where Luke is,
Right?
But
But
Lando's
again,
the one that's like,
They still could have had it be that she's not the sister. It's just that they have a connection. It's a love thing. We don't know. Not we. George and them didn't know just quite yet.
I mean, she does kiss him one more time after this.
Exactly. They didn't quite know just yet. It was without tongue, so this one can be explained. That first
I
one.
mean, we do have that line we didn't talk about
soppy.
with when Obi-Wan and Yoda are talking and they're like, there is another.
Yes.
And that ends up being Leia, but it ties back to that original script with Lee Burnett or whatever her name was.
Yeah, the separate,
where there's a sister.
separate sister.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they knew that there was a sister.
A
This
second
one we
sister.
actually did a good job with. We had her training since birth as a Jedi, unlike you, who is now 19 years old, never picked up a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Oh, our savior.
So they rescue Luke. They get chased by some TIE fighters. She kisses him again. And then Lando's like, punch it. Zip zap out of there because they fixed their shit. Oh, no. The first punch it, we get a wah again.
They fixed it. They told me they fixed it.
It's not my fault.
Hans and Carbonite. It's not my fault.
But it's because we do
Oil
cut to
curl.
Vader and he's like, you deactivated that shit, right?
Yeah. That's just the kiss ass guy. Of course, I deactivated, reactivated, and deactivated again just for you.
Just to make sure.
Did you want me to deactivate anything else?
Double deactivated.
Do you want me to turn on the disco lights in the masturbation chamber?
And we have Vader reaching out to Luke and talking to him, and this is that other where he's like, it's dumb. I don't like it, but it's fine because he reaches out and he's like, Luke, you have to come with me, whatever. And he's like, Father, like, no, you wouldn't. You'd be like, the fuck you doing? Like, you just jumped. You just jumped
cut
off
my
like,
hand off.
he cut off your hand and you jumped off like a 200-story fall to avoid this guy, and now you're like, Papa?
Papa,
But it's fine. It's just to solidify it for the people who went to go pee and missed it.
Right.
They're like, Father, did I miss something?
Holy shit! Is this a big reveal? Yeah, I saw episode 5 in theaters, and that big reveal when Luke's on the bottom of the city, hanging on the antenna, and we finally learn that Vader's the dad. I think you missed a part, dude.
Oh, that's when this is when he's back in the ship. He's in the recovery bay or whatever. Because
and it's like
right. It's right after
the
Leia
Force
gives him a
telepathy.
smoochy smooch.
Vader's like, there's a Force Nexus happening. It's like two siblings are kissing. They're my siblings or my kids.
It's got this hot dyad thing going.
There's a dyad in the Force. Ew.
It's not step though, so send it away.
Oh, it's your step dyad.
Step daddy. I got stuck.
I'm stuck, step dyaddy.
I'm stuck in the Cantino washer.
I'm
So
stuck in the refresher.
They jump to light speed and get away. Luke gets a robot hand.
Oh yeah.
And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And
And it really shouldn't, like, we talked about at the top, it doesn't really end.
No.
Like, I mean, Vader wins this movie, but the movie's not, and I normally fucking hate that. I normally cannot stand that in a movie where I'm like, you just turned off. This gets a pass.
But this is
Maybe it gets a pass because I got to watch all
Yes,
these together.
If you didn't
I
get
didn't
Return
see
of the
these in
Jedi,
theaters. I didn't
also,
see for sure.
you would
But like, I
be-
didn't see any of these in theaters, so I didn't come out of this movie going, oh no, now what do I have to wait
Yeah.
for? I had all of them available.
No, this is, but I mean, maybe, but to me, this is like the good cliffhanger type of conclusion when you know you're doing another one. Like for example, I didn't see it. My parents saw that the Fast X.
Yeah.
And they were like, it literally just ends at like, it's like a scene and then it ends. It's like you went to commercial and never came back.
yeah.
And like they
How it
didn't
felt.
really, and they didn't really advertise that that was multi-part unless you follow movie news like I do. So my mom was like, I didn't fucking know. But then as another recent example, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. It came out like 2 years ago. It says right in the title, Part 1.
Yeah.
That ends like this, where it ends the story, the conflict of that particular like storyline, piece of storyline. There is a larger conflict still at hand, but this story has been told. Like this piece of the story, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Second play or second act in a play.
Yeah, and there's still stuff that's going to happen, but it's not.
One chapter
It's-
of the book.
Yeah, exactly. You got a conclusion, not even a
And-
chapter. It's like when your book is broken into like
Yeah.
separate like phases of the book. It's like you get to the end of part 2 and like that's ended. The overall conflict is still there, but this piece of the story they were telling in this section is now over.
So it's like the Bible.
It's it's like a good conclusion that still has stuff coming.
And it's
Like he's
pretty
still got to be
it's
crucified.
pretty ballsy to do.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, but secondly, I guess you are manifesting that the audience is going to be like, we have to get this conclusion
When your
at this point.
first movie
Is the
was the
most
first
successful
movie to
thing
ever gross over $500 million or whatever I said
And it
on that
was made for
episode.
nothing
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
like
comparison.
you made this one for a little bit more. I mean, 18 or 30 depending on what you
Every
read.
studio would put this out. Like
Yeah.
Fox, like, we'll do it. Everyone's like, yeah, please. If they don't, call me.
But in the midst of a failure, they're still like, no, this is the ending. You're
You
getting
know,
a third.
I'm gonna go on a rant about stuff that we talk about all the time anyway, here and on Bad Movies, Worst People. CG versus practical. Okay. This movie cost, like I said, between 18 and 30 million ? Because I read both. The first one cost 11 million. Well, the reason people switched to CG when it became available is because they're like, well, it's cheaper and it's faster. How is it cheaper? Because these new Star Wars movies and these new Marvel movies and all that stuff cost $250 million each.
right.
And it's almost all going to visual effects.
It's less work on the plate of the director.
Me,
less
Ryan, and
work
his
for
wife
the
have talked about
producer,
this.
less work
No,
for
it's not
everyone.
less
That's
work
why.
for the 560,000 dudes who
No.
get their names stuffed in a credit board that's like every name on one.
We talk about this all the time, and the only legitimate reason I can think of is insurance. It's safer to have a CG squib here than me
Well,
actually wear one.
But not even that. Like creatures being CG, like Jar Jar and stuff like that. Like all this CG, and it's like, sure, it seems cheaper because you're just in a big green room shooting.
Yeah.
the craft
Shooting-
is dying. The
shooting
craft
in
is
the
Pay someone
movie.
to
dying.
make that costume.
Yeah, because
it's going to be
clearly
cheaper to pay someone to make that costume.
because on Bad Movies Worst People, we've talked about Tom Savini stuff a lot.
Right.
He's involved with all these movies that cost like $1 million,
But
and they
there's-
have these very good looking like effects, and it's not stuff that's necessarily putting people in danger, so it wouldn't be insurance. It's just
Okay.
it's good. They built a puppet, they built something, and it's obviously cheaper. I mean, I know we're talking about 1980 versus 2025 as far as cost,
Sure,
but
sure.
it's still
But
be
you can
cheaper
even
to
do
build
your
a
CG
puppet.
pretty cheap because what was it, Psycho Gorman, that was made for
Oh,
like 50,000 or
Psycho
100,000,
Gorman we
and it's got
gotta do.
great practicals and great CG, and it was done for like
But,
50
but
grand
then
or
you
something.
got to have
cheap.
people behind it.
Yeah,
you
you need to
like
have
the
a
But this
producers who
industry-
actually
this-
give a shit.
This
They're-
industry has strangled out the Tom Savinis. Those names don't exist anymore.
But this would be a good use of a little bit of CG. Still a ton of green screen, obviously, but they were doing a little bit of CG here.
Well, it's
This
not
shot-
CG here.
Yeah,
it's
it's just all
green.
pra-
There's
it's all
blue
green
screen
screen,
and
green
there's
screen.
I was
there's
gonna say this shot at the end of them like almost like waving at the camera when the ship goes by. It's
Oh,
such
that
a
you're seeing.
beautiful little yeah. Dude.
Like-
It's
Yeah, I mean,
it's-
stuff
it's
like
private
that.
It's like
screen.
Stuff
they're,
like that
they're
you
on a
could
Disney
improve.
ride and they.
But
take
I
their
still enjoy
picture.
it.
Yeah, but like stuff like that you can improve with a computer. But it's like it just doesn't make sense to me because building all of these puppets and robots and all this stuff that they did cost them $18 million or $30 million. And right now you got a Marvel movie that costs $250 million, and it
And it's
looks like
almost
For
shit.
whatever
all
reason,
digital.
Marvel wants that. They don't want an ILM. They don't want a group of people figuring it out.
Well, and like
I don't know why.
Like with the Acolyte, which we obviously did the whole coverage of, the whole show cost $270 million or something, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And that's the main reason that they're not bringing it back. But it's also, they're like, the return wasn't as good as what we spent. But it's also now come out that that's the second highest streamed
That's
thing
what I
on
just
Disney Plus.
Hold on,
Red.
no, it's not that. It's worded funny. It's the second highest streamed original
Well,
content.
something that's
Ew.
what I mean. Though
That's
that still fits what
big.
I'm saying. 'Cause
Right.
It's what they put
one
the
of
money
their
in.
highest streamed things that's original content.
Yeah, it's what they put money in to put out, and it's their second highest, and 270
The
million wasn't enough.
backlash made them back out, though it should have brought that many viewers. They continued to tune in.
Yeah,
They
'Cause
didn't
they
watch one episode or two and back
because
out.
at
They
the
continued watching.
time, people were saying like, "Well, it's because no one's watching it." Well, now
That's
we
what
now we
they
find
said.
out.
They
Now
put
we
that
find out
saying
it's
no one's
not.
watching it.
Now we
Yeah.
find out they were.
Yep.
And I made a post about it on our social media, but it's like, if this is the second highest thing, and the reason people aren't watching it, or you're not renewing it because quote unquote not enough people watched, and it's your second highest viewed original, then is the problem the Acolyte or is the problem Disney Plus?
The problem is Disney Plus. They shouldn't be. Acolyte should have been a movie. It should have been a nice like 2:20 movie.
Yeah, that
or
felt like a
movie
movie versus
series.
like Skeleton Crew felt like a series.
Skeleton Crew, we were worried about and nailed it perfect with the serials. Like a week to week, I was excited on Tuesdays to wake up and watch it.
Yeah,
Acolyte, even though I love the show, I love the show. I'm gonna chop it real quick. Like I was disappointed every week when it went off.
yeah, because they were short.
Because it cut. It never like wrapped up. It was like cut, as opposed to Skeleton Crew's like, here's your episode for the week. Here's your adventure for the week.
Well, and I wonder too if that was one of those things that fell victim to like maybe originally it was supposed to be a movie, and then they asked her like before she had written it, she had an idea for a movie,
Obi-Wan
and then
Kenobi.
and then
Yeah,
they asked her
similar
to turn
to
it
the
into
Obi-Wan
yeah,
effect.
exactly. Then they
Yeah.
asked her to turn it into that because obviously that's a couple years after Obi-Wan happened and
Yeah.
that whole ordeal because Disney hasn't put out a Star Wars movie since 2019 because they're afraid because those movies quote unquote didn't make money.
And I'm panicked. I'm a little worried, dude, because I don't think Mando and Grogu is going to be a good movie. I don't think that they need to be on the big screen. They're a silver screen star.
It's the way those stories unfold is so much better as episodic content.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned too. I'm gonna go see
It's
it.
the
but-
B side of your favorite band's album. You don't want to hear it in the radio, but you love it.
Yeah.
It's that little hidden gem kind of thing, and that's what Mando and Grogu always were. They saved serials for Disney, and now we're putting them here. And I think it's gonna be. I'm nervous. I'm gonna go see it, but I'm
Yeah.
nervous. It's gonna be way too many member berries,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
So what's the next live action coming out?
Mando and Grogu.
Mando
For
and
for a
Grogu.
movie,
Yeah. Well, series or
Andor comes out in May.
Damn,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I-
May
I think I heard
22nd?
you mention
April.
that.
April
22nd.
22nd.
April 22nd is Andor
Mandor.
is Mandor. I'd watch it.
Well, speaking of that, we should wrap up because I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But first, we have our guest Ryan here. Do you have anything you want to plug for the people?
Gripes.
No, yeah, check out Gripes. I've got about another little 3 short EPs coming out, so another 27 songs. I'll be uploading them pretty soon. So yeah, check those out. And then I got more stuff in the future, different projects coming up, but that for now.
So
Gripes.
yeah, just look up Gripes. It sounds like spelled like it sounds. Gripes, like you're griping. You have
With
a
an
gripe with
ex-
something with an
exclamation point.
exclamation point.
Gripes, says
And
Jack.
no, it's pronounced escalation point.
Especially when Jack says it.
Especially when I say escalation point.
But so after this, which is obviously a 2-parter, we'll be going straight into Andor season 2, which comes out April 22nd.
I'm gonna go straight into Andor.
Hey guys, at this point we were talking about what our release schedule for Andor was going to be, but that's changed because now we've found out that Andor is going to be coming out in 4 3-episode blocks. So once a week they will be releasing 3 episodes, which is great for the story, harder for your hardworking podcasters who also have full-time jobs. So we're going to record the episodes and then I will just figure out how to release them. Maybe it'll be once a week, and so it'll be 12 weeks. I don't think that's how we're going to do it. I think I'm probably just going to record them and then release them as I finish them. So it'll be 12 small releases over a 1-month period. But we'll see how it works out. This is a first time for them doing it this way, so it's a first time for us trying to figure out how to record it. And of course, we do this show, and we do Bad Movies, Worst People, and we have full-time jobs. So it all just depends on how much we can work into the schedule. But we will be talking about all 12 episodes of Andor. So stay tuned for that. And now back to your regularly scheduled outro. And of course, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/worstpeople, where you can get the Han Took Shots first episodes early, uncut, so no two-parters, no ads, all that stuff. So when you're watching this, if you had that, you could have watched this like a month ago. So you should have done that.
Shoulda. Time travel.
Oh, and I'm working on adding some Han Took Shots first merchandise to our merchandise store that we have. We have one
gonna be dope.
We have one piece out there now. It's a red hat that says "Make the Empire Good Again." No reason. So you can find that shop at worstpeople.dashery.com, which is DASHERY, like Dash Rendar Uri.
Easiest I can make it.
I'm making it Star Wars related for the people. Of course, we have to thank Ryan for our opening and closing music. I've been Derrick.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Ryan.
Hey, Derrick. I love you.
I know.
Culottes are the long, like, mom shorts.
Yep, that's what they are.
Like, not quite Bermudas. I got a weird mom thing, dude. Don't worry about it.
Check. I got a weird mom thing.
I've got a normal mom thing.